Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ray Fisher Stadium here at the Wilpon Baseball Softball Complex for WCBN sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Today's matchup, the third game in a three-game series between the Michigan Wolverines and the Michigan State Spartans. Michigan looking for the sweep here. I'm Austin Falco. Alongside me, Peter Monahan. Peter, Michigan coming off of winning the first couple of games of this one. As you mentioned, going for the sweep, going for a 3-0 record Big Ten play and their 8th straight victory.
Yeah, and obviously Michigan's feeling pretty good about themselves. They're able to start off their Big Ten play 2-0. As you mentioned, taking the first two games against MSU, one home, one away. But in this one, we're going to have Karl Kaufman taking the ball for the Wolverines. He kind of had some injury trouble last week, so we're going to see exactly how on top of his stuff he is in this start. He does enter this game with a 2-2 record and a 4.24 ERA. So, he's had kind of a rocky start to the season, but I think that's also due in part to some of those injury problems that I just mentioned.
Yeah, we'll see just how well Karl Kaufman can put those injury troubles behind him from last week. He does have a Spartan lineup that hasn't done a whole lot in this series, so perhaps a soft matchup to come back on.
Well, we're just nearing first pitch here. So the first batter for the Michigan State University Spartans is the third baseman, Zach Iverson. And he's going to step up to the plate here and see if the Spartans can get anything going in the first inning here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, Iverson coming into this one, 279 batting average, getting his first start of the series, or rather starting over there at third base in place of Marty Bakina.
Kaufman deals, and that's a strike.
2:01, the time of first pitch. Meanwhile, the weather outside, 36 degrees. A little chilly here in Ann Arbor.
Kaufman again, that's another strike. 2 looks there for Iverson, and 0-2 count. Kaufman with the pitch. Well outside for a ball there, 1-2.
Yeah, it was catcher Harrison Salter setting up well off the plate and tried to hold that there like he was getting a frame, but no chance of getting that call.
Kaufman again, kind of in the same spot there, 2-2.
Definitely trying to stay away from Iverson here. He does have a little pop, a couple doubles and a triple so far on the year. The freshman lefty.
Now Kaufman, and looks like a foul tip. Catcher unable to handle it, so still 2-2.
Haven't seen Kaufman bring out that good breaking stuff yet. He's been mostly hard here to start things off.
Kaufman deals, and looks like a good decision to not swing there by Iverson. That's going to be a ball, so 3-2 count. Kaufman started off pretty strong, but kind of let this count get away from him.
Yeah, he's nibbling a bit right now. Tried to get that little two-seam action running off the plate. Tried to get a chase there from Iverson, but couldn't.
That's going to be a foul tip into the parking lot, it looks like. So I have to keep you updated on the car situation.
Yeah. Don't have quite as clear a view today as we did a couple of days ago, but you'll definitely hear it if something big happens.
Karl with the swinging strike. Wolverines dugout, very happy about that one. And I'm sure Karl's pretty relieved to get through that at bat.
Yeah, good at bat there from the freshman Iverson to really bear down and stay alive, fouled off a couple tough pitches. One bearing down and in on him, one away from him. But in the end, it was Kaufman just able to overpower Iverson there and win the battle.
And now Kaufman. That's going to be a first pitch strike, and that's going to be for the Spartan right fielder, Dan Shimileski, in the 2 spot. One and one count. That's going to be taken for a ball. Spartan hitters doing a good job of making sure not to chase early.
Kaufman working around the edges. Does have some strong command now, not really missing his spots.
And that's going to be a strike on the inside. Doesn't look like Shimileski agreed with that call, but 1-2 count.
Shimleski turning out of the way of that breaking ball, but it looked like it did hook back in there.
And that's going to be a foul tip. Bounced back to the Wolverines dugout there.
Another big breaking ball there from Kaufman. Slowly working that in the first couple batters. We'll see if he decides to go with some hard stuff here after slowing down the bat of Shimleski a bit.
And that's going to be a strikeout there for the Wolverines pitcher Kaufman.
Yeah, he did run. It looked like a little two-seamer running in on the hands of Shimleski there. Barely got a piece of it. Nice job by Harrison Salter to hang on to that one, the redshirt freshman.
And for the Spartans, in the 3 spot, the center fielder, Justin Antonsic. Oh, and it looks like that pitch inside is just going to catch him in the elbow. And the Spartans will have their first man on base to start the game.
I couldn't tell if that was a breaking ball. It just didn't bite or what there, but it stayed inside. And Antonsic gets a painful trip to first base. It also clipped home plate umpire Brent Rice there. It bounced off of Antonsic's arm and hit off the hand of Brent Rice. He was shaking that around a little bit. So Harrison Salter going out talking to the pitcher, giving Rice a chance to shake it off and get ready for this next at-bat.
So the Spartan DH, Chad Ross Kelly, is going to head to the plate with a man on first. Kaufman's going to hit him. And it looks like the umpire is kind of arguing with Ross Kelly there.
He's not going to give him the base. I think he's saying that Ross Kelly leaned over the plate, but I don't agree with that call at all.
No, it definitely looked like Kaufman's pitch kind of ran in there. It didn't look like Ross Kelly was egregiously over the plate or anything like that.
He definitely turned to take it on the back, but I don't think he stuck the elbow out or anything. That's a questionable call at the very least to say. Of course, Jake Bosch Jr. headed out there and making his case. Maybe that was Harrison Salter doing the right thing there, giving Brett Rice a little bit of time to shake off the hand. A little payback there. I have no idea. I don't really see the justification for that call at all. It looked like the exact same pitch that Antonsic got clipped by. A breaking ball. It just didn't broke. It stayed inside, but evidently not.
And that's going to be taken for a ball. So it's going to be a 2-0 count. Man on first for the Spartans with 2 outs. Kaufman has 2 strikeouts, and the Spartans have no balls in play so far in this first inning.
2-0 count. And Antonsic taking a big lead over there at first.
The ball's just going to get away from him in the pickoff. And it looks like the Spartan runner is going to make it to second.
Yeah, I was just talking about Antonsic taking that big lead. Thought he might try to go. He was 9 of 11 in stolen bases this year and was gifted one there as the pickoff throw from Kaufman just snuck through Jesse Franklin. And now the Spartans have a runner in scoring position here. Base hit should push home the first run of the ballgame.
Still that 2-0 count. Ross Kelly's going to step off the plate for a second. It looks like he's kind of inched his way in to be as close to that play as possible, probably trying to get a hit from Carl.
His hands are hanging over that inside corner.
And looks like that's going to be a ball, so 3-0 count there for Ross Kelly at the plate.
Yeah, that one didn't miss by much. Bit low, maybe a bit outside. But the command from Kyle Kaufman, even with Ross Kelly really hanging over the plate, has been pretty solid. Been very close to the strike zone.
And that's going to be a strike for Carl, so he avoids the walk there with the 3-1 count. And Tonsick still on second for the Spartans.
Interesting to see Ross Kelly here in the 4-hole, also just a 188 hitter for the Spartans. Only 4 runs driven down on the year.
And that's going to be a swinging strike, so now to a full count, 3-2. Kaufman's really battled back in this count.
Yeah, Kaufman's did a nice job of what it looked like he hit a second straight batter and put another runner on base. Now he's worked the count back to full after falling behind 3-0 and a chance to set down Ross Kelly and get out of the inning.
And that ball's just going to get away from him, so that's going to be a walk from Kaufman. And it looks like Ross Kelly is going to head to first as Zach McGuire comes to the plate for the Spartans. He's their first baseman, and he's going to look to drive in a run here. But 2 men on base for the Spartans, but no balls in play so far. So it's not so much the Spartan offense right now, but maybe some pitches that have just gotten away from the Wolverines.
Kyle Kaufman's command, aside from a few pitches, hasn't been very spotty.
And that's going to be driven foul past the first base line there.
He's been working around the strike zone, hitting the targets that Harrison Salter puts up for him. It's just a couple pitches have gotten away and led to a couple of Spartan runners on base.
Oh, 1 count now for McGuire. Kaufman deals, and that's going to be a second foul ball. This one headed to the other side of the parking lot, and I'm sure they'll have one of the crew members go check out those cars.
Got a sound effect there. Got a nice laugh from a very nice crowd today at Ray Fisher Stadium for a 36-degree day. It's pretty much the general admission is full.
And that was just barely not a strikeout as McGuire is able to get a foul tip off that. Still an 0-2 count with 2 outs here in the top of the first. Men on first and second for the Spartans.
Yeah, I'd say pretty close to about at least 50% full here at Ray Fisher, something you don't normally see early on in the season while it's still cold. But a beautiful day, sun shining down, barely a cloud in the sky.
And that's going to be popped straight up right to a K.O. Thomas at second, and he's going to put that one away. And the Spartans are going to leave men on first and second as Kaufman gets out of the inning.
Yeah, nice job there from Kaufman to work out of it. Did throw 23 pitches in that inning, which for a Wolverine pitching staff that is a little shorthanded right now, just isn't quite adept at going too deep into the bullpen at this point. You really don't want to if you're the Wolverines. We haven't seen Alec Renard pitch for a while, several weeks. Tommy Henry had to go 101 pitches on Friday, so he's out of the equation. Ben Dragani also an outing yesterday. We saw him go into the 7th, so he's out of the equation as well. William Tribuker, a long reliever, pitched 2 2/3 innings yesterday as well in that win. So a pitching staff for the Wolverines that could really use a long outing, even from a guy that perhaps has injury concerns in Carl Kaufman. A 23 pitch first inning isn't the best start, but there's a 0 on that scoreboard, so the Wolverines will probably take that if they were given the choice.
Yeah, and I think you can't be too disappointed there, even with that high count. I think it looked like Carl kind of got settled a little bit. I mean, like we talked about, he didn't really have any balls in play except for that just last pitch, which was a pop out to second. So he did a good job of limiting, solid contact. And I think that's going to help him, even if it drives up his pitch count. If he's able to limit those scoring opportunities, I think that'll bode well for the Wolverines' chances today.
And for the Wolverines here, they're sending out a lineup that looks awfully familiar, especially that top half to what we've seen in the first couple games of the series and what we've seen that's been working during the 7-game win streak for the Wolverines. It's K.O. Thomas, Christian Bullock, Jonathan Engelman, Blake Nelson, all starting things off 1 through 4. They really have done a great job of getting on base, getting guys over, and really scoring, especially with the guys at K.O. Thomas and Jonathan Engelman just absolutely on a tear right now.
And, something that I like to see, just for me, I'd like to see those freshman names kind of in that back of the order. You got 4 freshmen in the lineup, so that's always great to see if you're a fan of the Wolverines because, they're obviously, developing their hitting, and it's always nice to see a fair amount of freshmen in your lineup. So the Wolverines are going to start their half of the inning as a K.O. Thomas comes to the plate for the Wolverines. their second baseman.
I mentioned K.O. Thomas, very hot right now since coming back to Ann Arbor a couple of weeks ago. Raised his batting average up to 292 after sitting down near that 200 mark early on in the year. On base percentage up closer to that 400 mark that we normally see is at 396.
And that's going to be a pitch inside for a ball. 1-0 count on the KO. Mason Earl, the Spartan pitcher today. And looks like a KO might have gone around there. So 1-1 count.
It's something that we keep monitoring. K.O. Thomas has reached base in every single game this season for the Wolverines. What you want out of your leadoff hitter?
Early with the pitch and a pop-up from K.O. Thomas. And it looks like the Wolverines second baseman pops out to the Spartan second baseman. One away in this first.
The right fielder, number 5, Chris Bullock.
Coming up to the plate is Kristen Bullock. For the Wolverines, he is the right fielder. And we'll see if he can get anything going against the Spartan pitcher, Erla. Erla looks and deals. And that's going to be a chopper foul just past the first base line.
Erla, the redshirt freshman at Cass City, Michigan, has been very impressive this year for the Spartans. 3-0, 2.15 ERA coming into this one in 5 starts. Not a huge strikeout pitcher, but has struck out 24 and only walked 12. That batting average against just 155. It's hard to get on base when Erla's pitching and reducing a lot of soft contact.
And that's a pitch outside from Erla, so the count grows to 1-1 for Bullock. Erla with the pitch well outside. 2-1 count now.
Bullock here really likes the ball in, so not afraid to, or not surprised rather, to see Erla really working the outside part of the plate.
And that looked like a pitch that kind of found its way in, but that'll be 2-2 count as Bullock holds off on the swing.
A bit surprised there. Bullock, that pitch down and in, likes to really turn on that one, open up the hips and drive it down into that right field corner.
Erla with the pitch. And it looks like the ump there at home plate is going to say a foul tip. So Bullock's at-bat still alive for the Wolverines.
Yeah, it was Bullock again. He likes to pull that ball into the right field corner, very much a pull hitter. Just reached out and barely got the end of the bat on that one as it was on the outside part of the plate.
Erla with the pitch. And that's going to be slapped up to second, but fielded by the Spartan second baseman. And it's going to just not be quick enough there as Bullock reaches first base. So that's the first hit of the ball game for either side. And
yeah, a little hesitation there from Corey Young, the second baseman. He made the play, ranging towards that second base bag and into the pitcher's mound, running in on it. Backhand it and double clutch. Didn't get a grip on the ball, I'm assuming, in that first time. And by the time he fired it over, Bullock, who was booking it down the line, was already a step past first base.
Yeah, I think that's definitely not, a location where you put the ball and expect to get a hit. But, just as you mentioned, that hesitation by the Spartan second baseman gave Bullock a chance. So Jonathan Engelman in the 3-hole for the Wolverines steps up to the plate with Bullock on first. Erla deals, and that's going to be slap foul just past third base from Engelman.
Yeah, Engelman's day yesterday, not quite as impressive as his day on Friday. He was 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts, couple walks, but that Friday game, Jonathan Engelman was absolutely just a man possessed. 4 for 5, 2 home runs, a double, a triple, 5 RBIs. He scored 4 runs. It was something to watch.
Wolverines hoping he can repeat that same success today against Erla. And Erla deals outside. 1-1 count now for Engelman.
This is almost the exact situation we had back on Friday where runner on first base for Engelman, and he promptly, it was a Christian Bullock as well after a single, he promptly went and unloaded one over the big brick wall in left field. It says 312 over there. That one went probably more like 370. He absolutely crushed that ball. It was high. The only doubt was whether or not it would stay fair.
Erla deals, and Bullock is going to go for second, and he's going to make it. So a nice stolen base attempt there. Not a great throw by the Spartan catcher, but nonetheless, Bullock is safe at second.
A little bit of a rough location there for Nick Lacayo to make the play. He had to reach inside to the righty Engelman, pull that back to his right hand, and try to fire down to second. It was on line. It just wasn't particularly strong. Didn't get a ton on it. One hopped in there and didn't really have a chance at Bullock.
So 2-1 count now for Engelman as that last pitch was a ball inside. And Bullock's going to go to third, and Lacayo is not able to handle that one. So Bullock has stolen second and third consecutively, and this sets up a great scoring opportunity here for the Wolverines with one out and a man on third.
It is 90 feet away, and obviously the sacrifice fly in play now for a guy in Engelman who's been driving the ball with authority to the outfield regularly. Almost a delayed steal by Bullock. It looked like he had a jump, then stopped, and then went anyway. And Lacayo just unable to field that ball, trying to put it into that right hand, and resulted in a free base.
It's going to be fouled off into the parking lot again. So kind of a dangerous day to be a car right now in this first inning.
Yeah, again, kind of a shame because we do have a ton of fans out here at the ballpark. Several of them, I'm sure, are parked right over there in that parking lot off the right field line. I've always talked about trying to balance how far you walk based on your car's safety.
Yeah, and that is going to be slapped down the hole between the second baseman and shortstop, and Engelman is going to drive home a run. So a single from the Wolverine three-hole man, and it is going to be 1-0 Wolverines.
Nice piece of hitting there by Jonathan Engelman. He worked the count full and then got a pitch he could handle right over the heart of the plate and lined it right back up the middle. Great shot there from Engelman, picking up where he left off here at Ray Fisher on Friday.
So the Wolverines strike Erla early. Definitely something that I'm sure was in their game plan as Erla came in with that sparkling 2.15 ERA. So things are looking good for the Wolverines with one out in the bottom of the first here, man on first, and Blake Nelson up to the plate for the Wolverines. And that's going to be slapped to right field. The right fielder loses his hat, but still able to make the grab, and Engelman retreats back to first.
Yeah, almost a double play there. Engelman was running on the pitch. They had to hit and run, and Nelson did the right thing and hit it to the right side. Unfortunately, he hit it in the air. So just goes his lazy fly out. Nice job by Engelman of recognizing he had to get back. He slid in about a half a second before that throw got there. So Wolverine center fielder doing a nice job here early on, driving in the run and avoiding running into the third out of the inning.
So after Blake Nelson's one pitch fly out to right field, Miles Lewis will head to the plate for the Wolverines to try to see what he can do against Erla. And that's going to be skied out into left. But the left fielder is unable to make the grab, and the center fielder is unable to recover. And that's going to end up being a triple, safe at third, it looks like. So a triple from Miles Lewis, the DH, is going to drive in Engelman, and it's 2-0 Wolverines.
I don't think that one's going to go down as a triple there. It should have been an easy fly out to left center field. It was left fielder Kelly sprinting in and tried to make a diving grab. We saw him do the exact same thing on Friday and come up empty as well. This time it just further compounded itself when Antonsa came over trying to play and also let the ball get past him. The ball ended up getting to medium depth left field. It was just rolling around out there, and the Wolverines just kept running. And I stand corrected. They do give him the triple on that one. I guess maybe a Spartan never touched it.
And the left fielder for the Spartans will catch the pop out from Jesse Franklin, and the Spartans will end the inning. So 2-0 Wolverines after the first on 3 hits. So things are looking good if you're the Wolverines, but if you're the Spartans, I think this could also be 0-0 if you just made a little bit better fielding plays. I think it all started with that second baseman not being able to really get a good grip on the ball. From there, I don't think it was terrible pitching by Erla necessarily, but just things didn't fall the Spartan way in that first.
Yeah, for the Spartans, like you said, just not sound defensively at all that inning. And it was another thing that we saw that on Friday as well. There's a reason this team is 6-15 at this point, and it comes down to fundamentals. Michigan was the exact same way at the beginning of the season, starting off 4-10 or 4-11 rather, and it just disastrous in the field at times and with the basic fundamentals of baseball. And when you can't execute those things, they really come back to hurt you later on.
So Kaufman will head back out there for the Wolverines. As you mentioned, he had that 23-pitch first, so I'm sure he'll look to limit the amount of pitches he throws this inning.
Kyle Kaufman, we mentioned, did a nice job last inning of really working out of a little bit of trouble, but he'll get the bottom part of the Spartan lineup here. There is some experience down near the bottom of that Spartan lineup. Nick Lakeo, the catcher, the junior, starting things off. Corey Young, the senior, in the 4 spot, or due up for this inning. But a little bit different than what we saw from the Spartans earlier on in this series, where they loaded up a lot of experience to the bottom of the lineup, so it was harder to really take that off. They knew how to attack, especially with the young pitcher like Carl Kaufman, just a sophomore, came out of the pen a lot last season. Had a similar approach against Tommy Henry back. They're just a sophomore as well in the Friday game of the series.
And first pitch from Kaufman is a strike, as the Spartan catcher Nick Lakeo, I'm sure, is looking to kind of redeem himself after those two, missed pickoffs there at second and third. Second pitch is a ball, so 1-1 count from Kaufman.
Didn't miss by much to Lakeo there. A bit high. Lakeo, not the tallest guy in that right-handed batter's box. Stands at just 5'9", so strike zone's a little bit lower.
And that's going to be slapped to second and caught by Akeo Thomas. So a nice defensive play by the Wolverines second baseman as the first out is away.
And nice job there by Thomas. Didn't have to move a whole lot, but with that ball tailing towards the right center, or towards the right field there between second and first there, just had to move a little bit. Did a nice job of getting down and getting that sinking liner in time before it hit the ground.
And now the shortstop for the Spartans, the freshman Ryan King. And that's going to be foul tip for the first pitch.
You mentioned King, the freshman out of Munster, Illinois. Also not the tallest in that batter's box. There's 5'8", 140. Very much like the Wolverines second baseman, Akeo Thomas, who's 5'8", 160, a little more built as a junior. I'm sure Ryan King will beef up a little bit on campus with the regular weight program over the next couple of years.
So 1-1 count now for Ryan King. Spartan shortstop at the plate. Carl deals pitch inside. King just able to kind of, skip away from that one there.
Wind really picking up here right now, too. Blowing from left to right.
Kaufman deals, and that's going to be a ball outside.
Yeah, Harrison Salter tried to bring that one back down and towards the strike zone. It was a little high and away, but the redshirt freshman couldn't quite frame that one.
And Kaufman throws a pitch kind of low there, but a swinging strike from King. And that's going to be a 3-2 count now.
We've seen that two-seamer from Kaufman been very effective early on, bearing down and in on right-handed hitters, getting swings that look a little awkward like that.
And that's going to be slapped hard past third, but That's going to be foul. So still a 3-2 count there for the Spartan shortstop.
It looked like maybe almost the same pitch, maybe a little bit flatter, not as much down and in motion, but King was able to turn his hips and get just enough of that one.
And slapped in the same spot. So another foul ball there for Kaufman. Obviously not something he's necessarily looking to see with that high pitch count. So I'm sure he's looking to get out of this at bat as soon as possible.
And the MO here is pretty obvious. It's work Ryan King down and in. We'll see if they try to mix it up at all after a couple of foul balls.
And Kaufman deals inside. King skips out of the way, but the fourth ball anyway, so that's going to be a walk. And I believe that's Kaufman's second walk of the game, still early. So, not something that the Wolverines are necessarily very happy about, but no hits either. So Kaufman's still pitching well early.
It looked like he tried to go with that front door breaking ball and just couldn't get it back on that corner. Something we saw Kaufman have struggles with back in the first inning also when he hit Antonsic.
And that's going to be a hit and run, but just past the third baseman for the Wolverines. And Bryce Kelly is going to get the single, the sophomore left fielder for the Spartans.
Yeah, Kelly, normally when the hit and run, you see trying to put it through the right side, but just shooting it the other way was Bryce Kelly. Did a nice job of hitting it with authority, went with the pitch, and found a hole right past the diving Nelson at third. Luckily for the Wolverines, it was to left field, so Ryan King stops at second.
So that's going to be a first pitch strike from Kaufman. And Corey Young at the plate. Still without a hit, it looks like. So obviously, struggling for that second baseman, and he obviously made that play in the first inning, so he wasn't able to put out the Wolverines hitter. So we'll see if he can change his luck here as he sends it to third, picked up, and that will be a put out. A nice throw there from Blake Nelson of the Wolverines.
Yeah, Nelson, nice play there. Feeling out on the short hop was a nice little chopper. Looked like he might have had a shot at getting a better bounce, but possibly in the interest of looking at least trying to turn a double play, didn't really have a shot at second. He was cutting that one off and had to make that short hop there. Did a nice job, though. Did the Wolverine third baseman of doing that, recording the out.
So Kelly and King now from the Spartans on second and third, respectively. Kaufman deals first pitch ball just outside.
Zach Iverson getting his second look of the game at Carl Kaufman. They had that battle to start things off in the top of the first.
Great situation right now if you're the Spartans. 2 men in scoring position, down 2. Kaufman deals and just outside again. Same location it kind of looked like, so 2-0 count.
You're going to have to come into the strike zone here against Zach Iverson. He has a very nice eye. 11 walks already on the season. Just 55 plate appearances for him. He gets on base at a .418 clip. He's not going to help you out. You got to try to retire him with something in the strike zone.
And looks like Kaufman takes your advice, Austin. And he puts that one in the strike zone, 2-1 count.
Still trying to pound that outside corner against Iverson. We saw him do that same thing in that first at-bat. It was just a matter of whether or not he could hit the corner. Didn't on the first 2 pitches of this one. Did on that pitch. So we'll see if they decide to stick out there. It looks like they are.
And Kaufman with a nice pitch in the strike zone there. So 2-2 count. 2 outs right now. So Iverson's going to need to get a hit right here to keep this Spartan scoring chance alive.
Yeah, just a nice job there by Kaufman here in this at-bat, mixing up the 4-seamer and 2-seamer. Kept that straight 4-seamer on the corner that time. Perhaps Iverson thought it was going to tail away.
And a nice pitch there from Kaufman, and he's able to get Iverson to swing. And a swinging strikeout there will end the inning. So 2 men left on base in this inning from the Spartans. And the Wolverines will come up to the plate.
Yeah, after an inning and a half here, you're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball. Boston Falco, Peter Monahan with me. I have Max Brill and the just about an inning or so, inning and a half. But we're through an inning and a half here. Michigan leads Michigan State by a score of 2-0. Looking for the sweep are the Wolverines. They took the first game of this series 12-3 back on Friday. It got dicey there at one point. Michigan was up 6-0 throughout most of the ball game until Michigan State closed in with 3 on the top of the 8th, made it a 3-run ball game, and Michigan then exploded for 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th, including runs that came in on both an RBI walk and a 3-run home run from Jonathan Engelman. He had a chance for the cycle in that one, had a couple chances at it, but decided to say screw the cycle and went and hit another home run anyway. Meanwhile, in yesterday's ball game, a 3-1 victory for Michigan. Michigan didn't get on the board until the 9th inning. No one got on the board, in fact, until the 7th when Michigan State pushed across a run. Thanks to some small ball there. Michigan answered with some small ball of their own. The winning runs coming across on a 2-run squeeze bunt. The second time Michigan's done that this year. I had never seen it up until that point. Now we've seen it twice in 2 weeks. Definitely something head coach Eric Bakich is really working on with his team. He knows the team doesn't have a ton of power, so he's trying to take advantage of the small ball. Me being someone that's not really a fan of the sacrifice bunts, it's a little hard to watch at times, but when you're getting 2 runs on squeeze bunts, it's kind of hard to argue against.
Yeah, I think, when the results are giving the Wolverines what they've given them so far, I think it's definitely something worth continuing. And for the Wolverines to start the bottom of the second here, it will be Jordan Wogu, the freshman, who's looked pretty nice so far to begin the season with that 4.29 average. I think pretty nice might be a little bit of an understatement, but nonetheless, Erla with the first pitch strike. 0-1 count against Gowu.
Wogu really didn't get much playing time when he starts until coming back to Ann Arbor. Only 21 at-bats, but still a huge, intimidating presence in that right-handed batter's box for a freshman especially.
And Wogu keeps the bat on the shoulder. 1-1 count.
He stands in there at 6'3", 225. Again, just a freshman out of Ann Arbor, the hometown boy. Maybe a little bit more comfortable finally coming back home before really turning things up.
And it looks like the catcher there for the Spartans, Nick Lakeo, not able to handle that one as it was low in the dirt from Erla. So he'll go and visit the mound with the first baseman. 2-1 count now against Jordan Wogu. Like we mentioned, that 4.29 average. So obviously the Wolverines are looking for some kind of action here at the plate.
Looks like John DeLora over there at first base, the first base coach for the Wolverines, is being reprimanded, telling him to stay back a little bit farther from that first base line for some reason. Try to get in the coach's box, maybe.
And it looks like Jordan did not necessarily agree with that call, but nonetheless a strike on the inside, so 2-2 count now.
Well, you have to take the bat off his shoulder in here. This at-bat, we'll see if Erla tries to get him to chase.
And Erla deals but a pitch almost in the dirt there from Erla, so full count.
Okay, that's exactly what he's trying to go with. Gets that moving down and get the freshman to maybe swing right over the top of it. But a good eye here from Wogu.
And the pitch from Erla inside, so that will be a walk there from Wogu, so able to get on base for the Wolverines to start the inning.
And after the last 3 Wolverines swung at the first pitch and put it in play, Jordan Wogu didn't take the bat off his shoulder, saw 6 pitches, and is now down at first base. Maybe working just a little bit, forcing Mason Erla to work just a little bit harder here in the second might be the game plan for the Wolverines.
That was excellent patience there from Jordan. But the catcher, Harrison Salter, will come up to the plate. His 296 average is not too bad either, so he'll look to see if he can advance Jordan. And a pitch outside, 1-0 count.
Salter hasn't gotten a whole lot of playing time this year either, just his 6th start of the season. Just his 10th game he's played in. He did get a couple starts during the non-conference. Just trying to rotate catchers around was head coach Eric Backich, see what worked out. It was Brock Keener that's really kind of won that job.
And a pickoff from Erla, but unsuccessful as Wilgie was able to return to first.
We also saw Joe Donovan, the freshman, who also got some playing time along with redshirt freshman Harrison Salter, who's starting today. Donovan hasn't been seen a whole lot recently, so it looks like Salter's won the backup job at least early on here in the season.
And the pitch from Erla will be foul tipped into the parking lot, so that's 3 already into that right parking lot there on that first base side.
Speaking of that first base side, a lot of green and white here. A lot of Spartans making the trip to Ann Arbor. Not too long of a drive, but all behind that Michigan State dugout. A lot of Spartan gear. We had some people up in the booth here, the luxury boxes with Spartan gear on, as well as some Michigan fans as well, of course.
And another pickoff attempt there, but again, unsuccessful as Wogoo's able to return. Wogoo 3 for 3 on stolen base attempts, so maybe not the biggest threat, but obviously it's something the Spartans are focusing on with him at first. And another pickoff attempt. Didn't really have a big lead there, so maybe just trying to make sure he doesn't try anything.
We've seen each team attempted a hit and run back in the first at-bats they've had today, or the first couple of at-bats in Michigan State's case. Maybe just trying to keep Wogoo close in case head coach Eric Backich wants to put another hit and run on.
And it's going to be slapped to the third baseman, Iverson, who's going to throw it to second, and the Spartans are going to get the double play. Iverson to Young to McGuire. So Wogoo and Salter are going to come off for the Wolverines as Blomgren steps up to the plate. The 9-hole hitter for the Wolverines, the freshman with the 183 average. So obviously looking to improve that average here against Erla with 2 outs in the second.
That's been one of the main storylines for the year for the Wolverines is Jack Blomgren, the shortstop, really getting starts all year long because of his defense and just slowly coming around with the bat. That 183 average, a little deceptive. He's shown great patience and great poise, especially recently, really growing into his own.
And the pitcher Merla slapped right over the shortstop. So Blomgren will slide into second there for the first. The single, excuse me.
Yeah, right on cue. Just as I said, Jack Blomgren's been having a lot of poise and has been looking good at the plate. Hits that one with authority right over the head of a leaping Ryan King at shortstop. Very nice piece of hitting there from the freshman. And the Wolverines have a chance to at least do a little bit of damage here with 2 gone in the inning.
So the top of the order again for the Wolverines. So Akeo Thomas will come up to bat. Blomgren at first. Erla deals, but that's going to be a ball. So 1-0 count.
Big lead over there for Blomgren. He faked going to second on that one also. Wouldn't be surprised to see Mason Erla try to pick him off over there. We've seen him get picked off before, just a freshman, but he is 4 for 4 when he does attempt to steal.
Erla deals to Thomas, but it looks like it was a pitch out there. Maybe expecting Blomgren to steal, but he slides back into first safely.
Yeah, trying to pull a little back pick there was Nick Lacayo, and Blomgren plenty of time getting back. Lacayo again spiking a throw to a base in the dirt. Nice job there from McGuire to keep that from rolling into that right field corner and let Blomgren run around for a little bit.
And that's going to be a 3-0 count right now for Akeo Thomas now at the plate for the Wolverines. 2 outs, but definitely a hitter-friendly count here.
Yeah, I'd get the green light here to Akeo Thomas also.
And it looks like that pitch is just going to be too high there. Akeo unable to kind of frame that favorably, so that's going to be a walk. And Akeo Thomas will go to first with Blomgren moving to second. Bullock will head to the plate for the Wolverines.
Bullock getting himself into a nice little groove here as well. Having himself a solid series. He had a hit, scored a couple runs, RBI back on Friday, and yesterday registering a couple hits as well. Already got one today.
Pitch from Erla and a swinging strike from Bullock there. Looked like the ball was a little outside, so unable to get a handle on it was Bullock.
A little over anxious there, perhaps, from the sophomore. I was working low and away was that pitch, and looked like he just wanted to try to hook one into a gap and do some damage.
The pitch from Erla and another swing strike there from Bullock. Kind of the same area there.
Yeah, look at the same pitch a couple times in a row. Bullock unable to lay off both times. We'll see if Erla goes back to the well one more time. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. I think I might advocate for it myself.
0-2 count with 2 outs as Erla deals in a pitch well outside. Bullock able to hold off this time.
I wouldn't say a questionable call there, trying to work that breaking ball back to the outside corner. But Bullock obviously not really picking up the changeup that was moving down and away from him. Not sure why he'd really go away from it when he's that flabbergasted by it.
And that's going to be inside, but Bullock does not swing, so that's going to be a strikeout, and it'll end the inning for the Wolverines. 2 men left on base there as the Wolverines are retired.
Yeah, Bullock just absolutely frozen there on that fastball in the inside corner. Nice piece of pitching there from Mason Erla to work around the single and the walk. Again, it helps when you get a nice little double play to start the inning as well. But the command hasn't always been there for Mason Erla early on here. He has gotten it about when he's needed it, aside from a few defensive miscues that end up costing the Spartans here early on. We very well could be looking at both pitchers pitching a shutout at this point.
Yeah, I think that's what it looks like so far. It doesn't look like either pitcher is necessarily, having a bad game. If it wasn't for the kind of poor defense there in the first from the Spartans, I think this could easily be a 0-0 game. So I don't think it's the stuff on either side in terms of the pitching, but the Wolverines still sit here with a 2-0 lead.
So it'll be Kaufman facing the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, the heart of the Spartan order, with Shimileski and Tonsik and Ross Kelly all due up to start things here in the third inning. We haven't mentioned it yet on the broadcast, but the jerseys today for both teams, Michigan breaking out their new pinstripe uniforms they've had for the first time this season. The white jerseys, the blue pinstripes running vertically. Maize block M up on the chest. Numbers on the back in blue with the maize piping, and of course the blue hat, maize M. Spartans, meanwhile, wearing a granite-colored uniform, the dark gray, not dissimilar to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Both tops and bottoms in that granity dark gray. Numbers and letters on the front and back of the jersey, all in green with the white piping on it. And they have, of course, the green hat with the white S.
And the right fielder, Dan Shimileski for the Spartans, is going to foul off the first pitch from Kaufman. Shimileski with a 261 average coming into this game, so maybe not the most explosive hitter there, but he is looking to get on base here for the Spartans as the second pitch is look like in the dirt for a ball, so 1-1 count.
Shimileski has gone down on strikes once already today, but does have some pop in the bat. 3 doubles, 3 triples on the year as well.
And Kaufman deals low again, it looks like, so 2-1 count.
Not one to walk too much, though, is Shimileski. Just 5 walks in the season to 17 strikeouts, so doesn't worth the count a whole lot.
And that's going to be a strike. So 2-2 count now. I think in terms of Shimileski, I think that 6 for 6 stolen base to attempt ratio is something the Wolverines are looking to avoid getting on the base paths, as the pitch is kind of just outside there and unable to be handled by Harrison Salters. So 3-2 count.
Yeah, the Spartans definitely have some speed here. We saw back on Friday they had the entire outfield was the 1-2-3 hitters.
And it is slapped to Nelson, who fires it to first, and that will be caught by Franklin. And that will be first out for the inning. Nice infield play there for the Wolverines.
Yeah, continuing that thought there, just to wrap it up, the Spartans had their left fielder, center fielder, right fielder, all three at the top of the lineup back on Friday. And a very dangerous team when it comes to getting guys on the base paths are the Spartans. Those three guys alone have attempted a total of 35 stolen bases, only been caught 4 times. That trio in the outfield for the Spartans. So always want to keep them off the base paths.
First pitch strike from Kaufman. And second will be a ball. So 1-1 count as the senior DH for the Spartans, Chad Ross-Kelly, comes up to the plate again. He was one of the
looks like it's Justin Antonsik, the center fielder. Speedy center fielder.
And played to second and put out. So a nice play there for the Wolverines. Nice infield play. And looks like Chad Ross-Kelly will indeed come up. This at bat.
Yeah. Here comes Chad Ross. Just ahead of yourself a little bit there. The Wolverines able to keep the speed of the right fielder and center fielder for the Spartans off the base paths here to start things off in the inning. A big positive there when you're trying to hold on to a lead. Just avoid runners that can wreak havoc.
188 hitter Chad Ross-Kelly in the DH spot. So looks like he's just trying to regain that that hitting. Maybe not necessarily their hottest hitter as of right now. And that's a swinging strike. So it'll be an 0-2 count right now.
Yeah, Ross-Kelly, a redshirt senior out of Macomb, Michigan. Not the best start, as you mentioned, this season for him. This is just his 9th start, though.
And that's going to be low for a ball. So 1-2 count with 2 outs here in the third. Maybe something to mention is that 50, the pitch count for Kaufman right now as we are in the third. So quite high already, but a fine start so far. And that's going to be a ball outside. So 2-2 count now.
Yeah, Spartans definitely making Kaufman work. It was Ross-Kelly ran the count full before working a walk back in the first.
And that's going to be slapped foul by the third baseman. So Ross-Kelly will stay by the plate there. Carl having trouble getting out of this one.
Yeah, again, just running that pitch count up for Carl Kaufman when Wolverines at the end of a weekend series generally don't want to have to use too much of the bullpen early on in the series. They haven't really, but done a solid job. Have the guys out of the bullpen. Unfortunately, a lot of those guys aren't available today because of the work they did in the first couple of games of the series. So potentially adventurous later on could be trouble for the Wolverines if Carl Kaufman can't go very long.
Still a 2-2 count. Ross-Kelly holds off, and that will be a ball. So a full count now for the Ross-Kelly and Kaufman matchup right now.
That pitch looked like it missed low, but Salter might be able to get a call had he been able to hang on to that ball. Tried to frame it and hold it at the knees. Instead, it trickled off the glove and got away.
The pitch from Kaufman looks like smack to center. And the Wolverines centerman Engelman is going to be able to put that one away and get the Wolverines out of the inning.
Yeah, Ross-Kelly really put a jolt into that one, but no harm, no foul. 1-2-3 inning here for Kaufman. The first time someone's able to do that today in this ball game. Encouraging sign. He will be sitting at a bit of a hefty pitch count, sitting up closer to 60 pitches going into the fourth, but not of the concern of the Wolverines right now. Right now, they just want to try to tack on some more insurance runs onto that 2-run lead. They got the right guys at the plate here with Engelman, Nelson, and Lewis ready to step up. The 3, 4, 5 hitters right in the middle of the order. Here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball, the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball. Got Michigan going for the sweep here over the Spartans, their in-state rivals, of course, just up the road. Spartans come into this one with just 6-15. Michigan riding in a 7-game win streak has brought themselves back up to 500 at 11-11. Two teams that really struggled to start the season. The Wolverines perhaps turning it around here against, admittedly, some competition that's not the best they're going to see this season, and isn't the best they've seen this season with the likes of Stanford, of course, earlier on in the year. But you have to start somewhere if you're Michigan with how bad or how poorly things were going early on.
Yeah, I think you have to be happy with the start in Big Ten play also, as the Wolverines are 2-0 with those 2 wins against the Spartans. So a good start in the Big Ten and is something I'm sure that they're looking to focus on, and it's definitely a nice product of their turnaround.
Yeah, we talked about this team a little bit over the course of this early season, and a lot of it centered around the growth of the team as this year went along. Coming into the year, an at-large bid into the Big Ten tournament or into the NCAA tournament was a pretty far-fetched idea, I would venture to say. The Big Ten, not necessarily known for putting a lot of big at-large teams into the tournament, but especially when you lost so much production, it was going to be about the Wolverines as season goes on. Can they get better? And it looks like they've done so, at least to start off Big Ten play here, although admittedly a very small sample size.
Jonathan Engelman now at the plate for the Wolverines. Erla deals inside a ball to the Wolverines center fielder.
It was Engelman drove in the first run of the game back in the first with that RBI single up the middle. Looking to be a rally starter this time.
Erla with the pitch inside again. Looks like it might have caught the home plate umpire, maybe on the foot or so.
Brent Rice taking a beating back there. Got one on the hand earlier on. Maybe got one on the foot there. Rough day behind the plate there for Rice.
So a 2-0 count in this bottom of the third. No outs for Jonathan Engelman. Definitely a patient at bat here for the Wolverines center fielder. And a pitch from Erla. That's going to be a strike. So now a 2-1 count.
Yeah, Engelman, a generally patient hitter up there. Likes to wait for his pitch.
And that's going to be too low. So 3 balls now. Engelman with a nice count here to make something happen for the Wolverines.
Definitely a hitter's count. When you're locked in like Engelman is right now, you can see a big swing coming here, especially the wind now blowing out.
And just as you said it, it's going to be slapped to right field, but it looks like a nice play by the right fielder there, Shimileski for the Spartans. So he's able to snag that one and put away Jonathan Engelman.
He put a jolt in that one, did Engelman, just aligned it right where the right fielder Shimileski was playing. He ran in on it, made a nice sliding grab as it started tailing towards the line. But nice play there by Shimileski to retire the red-hot Engelman.
And now in the bottom of the third with 1 away. First pitch to Blake Nelson. And looks like that was a ball.
Nelson 0 for 1 on the day, flew out to right field in his first at-bat.
Erla with the pitch, and it's slapped to the right fielder, but unable to get it is Shimileski. Finally tracks it down and sends it to the second baseman, and that's going to stop Nelson from going to second. So just a single there for the Wolverines' third baseman.
You could say he almost hit it too hard there, got it out to Shimileski too quickly. Nice play there by Shimileski, though, to pivot near the track and fire back in a strong throw towards second base. I think Nelson probably could have made it had he decided to go. He was already halfway there before he put on the brakes, but better safe than sorry here. Only 1 out in the inning and some hitters behind you that could still do some damage.
So Miles Lewis, the DH now for the Wolverines, up to the plate. Erla with the pitch in the dirt, but able to recover it is Nick Lacayo. And he's able to stop Nelson from going to second.
A big stop there from Lacayo. Don't want to put that runner in scoring position and take away the double play ball that could end the inning. Miles Lewis back in the first inning. Had a run-scoring double. No RBI on the play as he ruled the run scored because of an error on the center fielder in Tonsick. After he bobbled it and let it get past him out there. Very reasonable. Miles Lewis, I'm sure, wants the RBI, but the tally on the scoreboard much more important.
And that's going to be a ball, so a 2-0 count now for Miles Lewis. Earlier, the pitcher for the Spartans with a pitch count of around 42 right now, so slightly high there for the Spartan pitcher, but not as high as Kaufman for the Wolverines. And that's going to be slapped. It looks like out of play. Almost hit a fan there. That was a close one.
Yeah, Cade looked like he was camped under it, was watching it the whole way, and then all of a sudden at the last second ducked out of the way of that one as it flipped off the screen, luckily, and deadened the impact before it came down into the crowd. Regardless, it did get out of play, though, so it's 2-1 now on Miles Lewis. Scoreboard reads 3-1 here, but it's only been 3 pitches thrown this at-bat.
Erlen now with the pitch outside, so it looks like your scorekeeping was right, Austin, as Miles Lewis does not head to first. So it's going to be a 3-1 count now for the designated hitter of the Wolverines.
That's why you should always keep a scorebook when you come to the game. Keeps you on your toes. You're paying attention to everything. Might even outsmart the scoreboard people sometimes.
And now Erla looked like a hit and run, but a foul. So unable to put it in play is Miles Lewis.
But Lewis just fouling that off to that left side there. Going with the pitch. Not much you can really do. We talked about it, obviously. When you have that hit and run with a runner on first, like Nelson was going, you want to try to hook it back to that right side, but there really wasn't an option to do so. If Lewis tried that, it would have probably rolled over weakly. So better to foul that one off to that left side and get another chance.
3-2 count there for Lewis. And that's going to be a walk as the ball is just inside. So runners on first and second for the Wolverines, Lewis and Nelson respectively. And it looks like it's going to be Jesse Franklin up to the plate for the Wolverines, who is trying to plate in a run here to try to increase that lead for the Wolverines early on.
Wouldn't be surprised here with a righty at the plate to see maybe a double steal put on by head coach Eric Bakich. But with the lefty Franklin, a wide open lane there for Nick Lacayo, even with the struggles that he's had and how much Wolverines been willing to test him, would be a very risky move. So as it stands, it's going to be up to Franklin just to produce on his own.
And that's going to be a first pitch strike from Erla. Franklin, who had the fly out in the first inning.
Yeah, lazy fly ball to left field. It went to the other way. Kind of want to see Franklin pull the ball a bit more. He does have some opposite field pop. He hit a homer here last weekend on Sunday, a week ago.
And they're going to try and get him at second, but unable to as Nelson slides back in.
My mistake. It was rather Tuesday against Oakland where he deposited one over the left center field wall. No small feat for a lefty. The alleys here at Ray Fisher, a little bit deeper, probably the deepest parts of the park. It's only 395 to center, but the outfield fences in those power alleys really get way out there.
And that's going to be a nice stop there from Lacayo as it's a ball, but able to prevent the runners from advancing there. That's 2 stops we've seen recently from Lacayo. and he's saved a few big plays that the Wolverines could have had.
Coach Eric Bakich giving signs to his batter and the runners there. They all have the little sleeves that they can wear over the belt that have different plays on them. Bakich gives a number, and they look down to see exactly what they want. See if something's up here on 1-1.
And it's going to be slapped to the right fielder, Shimilewski, but unable to get it as it bounces off the national champions on the right field, and the Wolverines are going to score a run. That's a double from Franklin and an RBI as the Wolverines are up 3-0.
And right on cue, I said I want to see Franklin turn on the ball and really pull one, and he definitely did that. Absolutely roped that one over the head of Shimilewski. He had zero chance at fielding that ball. Unfortunately, Miles Lewis a bit caught up between first and second, or rather Blake Nelson also. They thought Shimilewski might have had a beat on it for a second, but really no chance. That banged and one hopped up against the wall. Great piece of hitting there from Jesse Franklin, and an absolute rocket off his bat.
And now Wogu up from the Wolverines. Only one out and men on second and third, so a nice opportunity here for the freshman.
Didn't take the bat off his shoulder in a 6-pitch walk back in the second inning.
Pitch from Erla, and it's going to be smacked to short, and he's kind of unsure who to go to, but eventually throws it to McGuire at first and gets Wogu, but Wogu is able to drive in one run for the Wolverines there.
Yeah, King on that play, he fielded it, looked at first almost to make sure he had time to even consider throwing to third, then pivoted to look towards third to see if he could maybe get Franklin there, decided better off just to take the force out at first, and got Wogu by maybe a step there. Took just enough time, I guess. I need a little bit more hesitation there, and Wogu is safe on first base as well.
So now the freshman Salter for the Wolverines, the man on third. And that's going to be slapped just foul on the left field line there.
Yeah, Salter hopping on that first pitch, really hooking that one, trying to get it down the line. Couldn't quite get it to stay there, banged up against the side wall near the Wolverine bullpen.
Salter here now trying to make up for that double play he had earlier.
Good news for him. He can't do it again. 2 outs here in the inning.
And a swing and miss there from Salter. So it's an 0-2 count now for the freshman.
Salter's average down just a tick there to 286. Only 28 at-bats, as you said. Limited playing time for the redshirt freshman this season.
And that's going to be a foul tip there, as the screen is going to save the fans from encountering that ball. Still an 0-2 count here for the Wolverines catcher. 2 outs in the inning with Franklin on third. Looked like Franklin feigned a home steal, but Erla's going to move in to get that lazy pop-up, and the Spartans will end the inning.
So the Wolverines scratch off a couple more runs here in the third inning on an RBI double by Jesse Franklin, an RBI ground out by Jordan Wogu. They hop out and double their lead in this one after 3 innings of play here at Ray Fisher Stadium. The score, Michigan 4, Michigan State 0 on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball. I'm Austin Falco. That was Peter Monahan. You'll hear him again back near the end of this ball game, but welcoming in at this point Max Brill. Max been watching this ball game for us. Our quality control coach, we'll call him, for the first part of this broadcast. Max, what have you seen so far that has the Wolverines out to this lead, looking for the sweep?
Really, it's been a combination of a lot of good for them. They've been hitting very, very well. They've put up runs in the first and third, obviously threatened in the second, leadoff walk, stranded 2. It's been an all-around fantastic offensive effort from the Wolverines, and really that's why they're ahead 4-0 right now.
Wolverines in great position to start off Big Ten play here, 3-0. Meanwhile, a new one that I haven't seen, the Wolverines dugout sprinting out. They all lined up against the left field line as they normally go in between innings and keep themselves occupied and maybe a little bit warmer, especially on a cold day like this. They all lined up like they were at a driving range and they were just pitching balls. I have not seen that one before, but certainly entertaining, and I'm sure entertaining to a lot of the young fans that made their way out today. Great promotions here at Ray Fisher Stadium for all the kids, of course. They got the bounce house, the kids play zone off on the right field side. Normally kids get to run the bases after every single home game as well. Pre-game, they get to take the field with the players for the national anthem. A great family atmosphere here at Ray Fisher, and plenty of families coming out on a sunny Sunday afternoon.
I've been to all but one of the home games this season, and I have not seen a crowd nearly as big as this. So definitely a good sign that in these 30-degree weather, people want to come out to watch their Wolverines play some ball.
And they're watching Carl Kaufman shut out these Michigan State Spartans so far through 3 innings. He starts off against Zach McGuire. McGuire grounds one towards third. Got a sliding play made over there by Nelson. He fires over to first for out number 1. Nice play there by Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson has been pretty much locked down today. Last inning, made a solid play on a short hop this inning, making the sliding play to lead it off. And now Kaufman has retired 7 straight.
Kaufman in a groove now. He'll test that streak up against Nick Lacayo, or Lacayo rather. The diminutive catcher for the Spartans had a bit of defensive difficulties early on in this one. First pitch of the at-bat misses inside for a ball, 1-0. Kyle 0 for 1 on the ball game today. Lined out hard to Akeo Thomas at second. Back in the second. Righty versus righty, the pitch. Swing on, and I think just ruled a miss there. Ball got past Salter behind home plate, but regardless of whether Lacayo got a piece or not, it will go down just as strike 1 and even the count up at 1-1.
Fun fact about Carl Kaufman and Harrison Salter behind the dish. Salter was actually Kaufman's first catcher in Little League when they were 8 years old.
Perhaps the familiarity factor there, getting Salter the starters. This one is bounced high towards Akeo Thomas, makes the play leaping and tosses over to first for out number 2. Couple of quick outs here in this inning, exactly what Kaufman needed with the elevated pitch count early in this one.
Lacayo giving Akeo Thomas his work out there at second base. Lined out to him in the second, grounded out to him there just now, and Kaufman came into the inning with 57 pitches and is looking to get out of it with under 65.
About to retire Ryan King in order to do that, probably. First pitch to King, misses low and away for a ball, 1-0. King really got his money's worth back in his first at-bat, an 8-pitch walk. 1-0 pitch now is bounced foul into the Wolverine dugout. 1-1 the count.
That's something that King did especially well in his last plate appearance.
He really turned on those inside pitches from Kaufman. The 1-1 pitch is on the outside corner, though, but maybe a bit high. I'm not quite sure where that one missed, to be honest with you, but it's going to run the count to 2-1. There's a small strike zone there with the 5-8 King in that batter's box. He pops one foul off to the right side. That one's going to get out of play near the parking lot. So worried fans looking over and checking on their car.
And based on the attendance today, I'd imagine that spots far away from the field are few and far between.
That foul ball brings the count to 2-2. Wind up from Kaufman, the pitch. Grounded towards third. Nelson fields easily, tosses on to first for out number 3. So a 1-2-3 inning there from Carl Kaufman. Exactly what he needed. A nice quick 3 up, 3 down. He's retired 8 in a row now. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Michigan leads Michigan State by a score of 4-0 here on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball.
Great inning there from Kaufman. Exactly what the doctor ordered. A 9-pitch inning. Second time through the order for him, and he hasn't allowed a single base runner. So he's done a good job after a little bit of a shaky time through the order the first time. Hit a batter, walked 2 batters, and gave up a hit. Second time through the order. Nobody has seen first base. So a good job to bounce back from Kaufman.
And we were a little worried about Kaufman coming into this ball game, having to leave his start last week, Tuesday, relatively early on. I believe it was in the 2nd inning of that one. So it was something to keep an eye on how he would start off if there's any lingering issues. It looked like it might be that way early on in this ball game, but since he settled in, he's looked like exactly what head coach Eric Bakich needed out of his starter today.
I think part of the key today for Kaufman was making sure he settled in early. In that last game, he retired 6 straight batters and then went out, took some warm-up pitches in the top of the 3rd inning, and Coach Bakich decided that he didn't want to risk anything with Kaufman. So today, now Kaufman able to bounce back and really establish himself early. And it's paid off for the Wolverines. Allowed just 1 hit so far, thanks to some good defense. And Kaufman has also picked up 3 strikeouts so far in 4 innings. So it's been a very solid all-around effort from Michigan today.
Meanwhile, trying to settle in a little bit here is Mason Erla for Michigan State. Only 55 pitches through 3 innings, so he's coming under what Kyle Kaufman was at coming into the 4th. But so far, not one of his best outings of the year. He's already given up 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned in just those 3 innings. The big thing, though, is the 3 walks he's already issued. Not one to really issue too many on the season, but Wolverine hitters being very patient and not chasing today. Jack Blomgren steps in and hits one high and deep towards left field. Ranging back, Kelly at the wall. Gone! Jack Blomgren with his first career home run over the left field wall. What a shot for the freshman. The dugout erupts, splashing water all over the place. Congratulations, Jack Blomgren. He puts the Wolverines up 5-0, and you can see the exuberance on his face as he crosses home plate.
I don't think even he was expecting to be able to do that. Blomgren came into the game with not a whole lot of hits, hitting under 200, and just did a great job of staying back, driving that ball over the left field wall. 183 coming into today, but he's now 2 for 2 with an RBI. So, and that home run really doesn't get much better than that, getting production out of your 9-hole hitter. Blomgren, perhaps we see him turning it around after 2 hits today.
I know we're not supposed to be very partial here, but Jack Blomgren, one of my favorite players on this Michigan squad. Just there's something to be said about someone that can just step in immediately for defensive purposes, and to watch him grow at the plate as the season's gone along, and possibly a little breakout day for him today. It's a joy to watch, as is Akeo Thomas, who's stepping in there now, and the 1-0 pitch to him is in there for a strike. So the count's even up at 1-1.
Interestingly enough, Thomas actually leads the team in extra base hits. Not something you'd expect from him. He doesn't have any homers on the season, but 9 doubles.
You have to get a triple, too. You'd expect with that speed, if he can find the gap, maybe sprint around for a little bit. He takes a big swing there at the 1-1 pitch and comes up empty. Count goes to 1-2.
Engelman is right behind him with 7 extra base hits, 3 of those home runs.
All of Akeo Thomas's extra base hits doubles, as you mentioned there. The 1-2 pitch to Thomas here, bounces low in the dirt for a ball, evens things up at 2-2. Thomas walked back in the 2nd inning of this one, extending his streak of having reached base in every single game the Wolverines have played this season. That makes it 23 in a row. Of course, he had a 38-game on-base streak last season. He grounds this one past the sliding shortstop Ryan King and into left field for a base hit.
Good job there by Thomas once again, staying back on that pitch. Wolverines have done a good job of that in this inning, staying back, really driving through the ball. You saw Blomgren in the previous at-bat drive it over the fence. Thomas with a nice base knock into left field. And Wolverines making Erla, who entered today with a 2.15 ERA and a 3-0 record, do some work here early. He's already given up 5 runs. I don't believe we have any action in the Michigan State bullpen yet, so it's going to be Erla's mess to clean up here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, I was just looking down that right field line as well. Starting to get hit hard here is Mason Erla. One of his calling cards is holding hitters to very low batting average, just 155. As Christian Bullock steps in and hits one high in the air towards the left side, ranging over near the line as the shortstop King. He puts it away for out number 1.
Erla this season has given up only 16 hits. Coming into today, had given up only 16 hits in 29 and a third innings. But control has been a little bit of an issue for him. 12 walks, 24 strikeouts, not the best ratio there. And if you're limiting the opposing team to about 7 hits per 9 innings, that's a good sign. But today he hasn't been able to limit the Wolverines' hits. And with those control issues, that does not spell success for the young Spartan.
Yeah, those control issues manifesting themselves early on and have kind of worked their way into issues of just getting hit all around the ballpark. Even that last pop out by Christian Bullock got a good piece of it, did the sophomore. Hit it very high, just didn't have much distance on it. Someone that's capable of hitting it high with a lot of distance, Jonathan Engelman, we've seen already in this series, steps up to the plate and takes the first pitch on the outside corner for a strike 0-1.
Engelman with the 2 hits, 2 home runs in Friday's contest, tripling his season total from 1 to 3.
Love the small sample sizes you can make fun of early on. See, 0-1 pitch misses off the plate away for a ball, 1-1.
He's been good this season aside from the home runs, though, obviously. 3 doubles and a triple coming into today. The team leader in RBI, 318 batting average, 482 slugging. So he's been doing it all for the Wolverines squad, and it's been good to have a rock there in the heart of the lineup.
He's 1 for 2 today with a RBI single back in the first and a hard line out to the right fielder back in the third. Pickoff throw chases Akeo Thomas back over there on first. But Engelman's average up to 322 on the season. He's got that OBP up over the 400 mark at 404 now with his 1 for 2 performance today. And just seems like every single at bat, he's making the most of it, putting good swings on the ball, waiting for his pitch. Looks like the Jonathan Engelman that we were accustomed to seeing last season when he got in the groove. Another pickoff throw chases Thomas back diving in safely.
And sabermetricians will tell you that there is no such thing as clutch. But when a player gets on a hot streak, sometimes you can't explain it. You just can't explain how a guy is able to hit so well over such a short period of time. And that's what Engelman has really done in this series against Michigan State.
He really started to catch fire in the Bowling Green series last week as he bounces one towards third. Making the play there is Iverson. He has to throw to first and barely gets Engelman by about a half step. The high chopper didn't leave Iverson much time at all. Didn't give him a chance to turn 2. So Akeo Thomas advances to second, and that'll go down as a 5-3 ground out. So there's 2 now gone here in the bottom of the 4th. Runner on second. Blake Nelson steps up to the plate.
Anything by Engelman that was not a sharp ground ball would have been hard to turn to with Thomas's speed there at second base. He was already on the bag before Iverson even fielded that ball, which is partially thanks to the turf and the high hop. But either way, Thomas is extremely difficult to start a double play with.
Can also manufacture a run for you if you need them. As these first pitch to Blake Nelson is in there for a strike, 0-1.
We've seen Coach Bakich not hesitant to try the steal at third base. Already has 1 success there today with Chris Bullock in the first inning. So we'll see if Thomas goes here with 2 outs.
You do have the righty up in Blake Nelson, so is a possibility there. Thomas doesn't look like he's being too aggressive with his lead out at second.
Nobody holding him on, though.
The 0-1 pitch is bounced foul off the foot of Blake Nelson. So walk that one off for a second, and when he gets back into the box, he'll be down in the count 0-2.
Nelson today 1 for 2 with a single to right field. Came around to score in the 3rd inning.
He was the lead runner on that Jesse Franklin RBI double off the wall that was absolutely scalded. Took both Nelson and Lewis, the base runners, a second to make sure that was going to get over the head of Shimoleski out there, but the right fielder for the Spartans really didn't have a chance. Down the count, though, 0-2 is Nelson. The pitch missed outside for a ball. Trying to get him a chase there was Erla. He didn't, so it's 1-2.
I like what Erla's doing there and what a lot of people would consider a breaking ball count, trying to get a chase on the outside corner. Perhaps keep it close enough to get a called strike. Either way, definitely a good call there from Erla. Now he's got to come back 1-2.
He comes set. His back slightly facing home plate as the 1-2 pitch is spiked in the dirt low and away for ball 2.
That looked like a breaking pitch he just lost control of. Behind the dish, Lacayo set up on the outside corner, and the ball ended up way in the lefty's batter's box.
Intimidating presence on the mound there. Stands at 6'4", does Erla. He leans in for the sign, comes set with a glove right about at his belt. Again, slightly turned towards second base to shield the hitter as this one is deposited into right field. That's going to score a run. Akeo Thomas is around second. Nelson's on his way to second. He will be held. So an RBI double there from Nelson into the right center field gap. Has the Wolverines up now 6-0 here. They've tacked on another 2 runs in the 4th.
A great job by the Wolverines not giving up with 2 outs. Nelson coming up with his 2nd hit of the day and his first RBI of the day. So Wolverines now out ahead of their in-state rival Michigan Spartans, 6-0 here in the bottom of the 4th.
And now there is action down in the Spartan bullpen. So the leash on Mason Erla perhaps getting a little bit shorter here as this inning wears along and the Wolverines continue to make hard contact against the tall righty.
And Spartan coach Jake Boss Jr. could just elect to leave him in here for the end of the inning and start the next inning with a new pitcher. So we'll see how he decides to approach this pitching change that seems to be impending.
He'll face Miles Lewis now with 2 outs and the runner on second. Lewis hits one high in the air towards left field. Bryce Kelly able to make the play on it this time, unlike the last time Lewis hit one out there. And that will be retired for out number 3. But as you mentioned, Wolverines scratch across 2 more runs here in the 4th. The leadoff homer by Jack Blomgren, the first of his career being the big blow. Blake Nelson also tacking on an RBI double of his own. And after 4 innings of play here at Ray Fisher Stadium, the score, Michigan 6, Michigan State 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast from Michigan baseball on WCBN Sports.
And that home run by Blomgren in the last inning, getting him over 200 for the season, so finally above the Mendoza line, and I'm sure he feels great about that, especially doing it on a home run. It gives you a lot of offensive confidence as a freshman, as a shortstop, a position that's not really known for contributing a lot of offense, usually a defense-first position. So good signs for Blomgren here at Ray Fisher Stadium today. Perhaps we'll see more of that as we move later into the season.
Freshman out of Milton, Wisconsin, having himself quite the day today at the plate. He won't be due up next inning, but very well could get there as Wolverines have failed to go down 1-2-3 yet this game. Meanwhile, 2 straight 1-2-3 innings from the Spartan offense against Kyle Kaufman in the 3rd and the 4th. You start out the 5th here. They'll set up the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, Bryce Kelly, Corey Young, and Zach Iverson.
And before we get going here in the top of the 5th, let's go around the Big Ten scoreboard for today, Sunday, March 25th. Georgetown taking out Ohio State in 10 innings, 4-3. Stetson dropping their game to Maryland. Maryland wins that 1-2 zip. Penn State currently beating Rutgers 6-1 in the top of the 7th, and Illinois Northwestern knotted up at 0 in the 3rd. Here at Ray Fisher Stadium, Michigan leads Michigan State 6-zip. You're listening to Austin Falco on play-by-play, and I'm Max Brill on WCBN Sports Radio.
Bryce Kelly takes the first pitch of the inning here from Kyle Kaufman, low and away for a ball, 1-0. Kelly singled on the first pitch he saw from Kaufman back in the 2nd. Didn't make it farther than second base, though. Time he takes a 2-seamer that runs just off the plate away for ball 2.
Home plate umpire today, Brent Rice, has been squeezing Kaufman a little bit as we get into the later innings of this game.
Yeah, outside corner seemed to be really open for business early on. It is there as Kaufman hits it for strike 1. It's 2-1. Seen Kaufman go to that 2-seamer a lot early on in this one. One of his best pitches, just really working it away, especially from lefties. This time he puts one down and into the lefty Kelly. So he's down in the count 3-1 now. In danger of ending that streak of 8 straight retired Spartans. He winds up the 3-1 pitch. This one is bounced into right field for a base hit. Sprinting over to cut it off there is Bullock. He fires back in to hold the speedy Kelly to a single, though. So second hit of the day for Kelly. He's got both of the Spartan hits in this one. He'll be on first base with nobody out to start things here in the 5th.
Kelly, the first base runner for Michigan State since the top of the 2nd inning, when he reached base himself with a single. So that ends Kaufman's streak of 8 straight Spartans retired.
So now it will be Corey Young stepping up, the second baseman. He hits one high in the air towards center field. England ranging back into right center. Makes the play without much difficulty. Fires back in to make sure Kelly doesn't even think about tagging up. So there's now 1 gone in the inning.
That'll bring up Zach Iverson, the third baseman for the Michigan State Spartans, who has struck out twice today.
Hasn't had much luck against Kaufman at all as the lefty third baseman. Just a freshman there is Iverson. Out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Listed on the Michigan State roster as an infielder, outfielder, and pitcher.
He does it all. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
Exactly. A pickoff throw chases the speedy Kelly back at first base. Wouldn't be surprised to see him try to get on the move here. He's not going here on the first pitch of the at-bat to Iverson, but it catches the outside corner for a strike 0-1.
And once again, Michigan State finds themselves down in the middle innings of a game, so needing to manufacture runs. We'll see if they send the runner on first base, Kelly.
Carl Kaufman thinking the same thing, chases Kelly back with another pickoff throw. On the season, Kelly 15 for 18 on stolen base attempts. Leads the Spartans in both attempts and steals. Again, not going here on the 1-0 pitch, or 0-1 pitch rather. That misses outside for a ball and brings the count to 1-1. As was mentioned, Iverson 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts against Kaufman today. A lot of that Kaufman working away from Iverson, and Iverson not really being able to adjust. As the going on the pitch is Kelly. The pitch is a strike, or no, it's a ball actually missed outside, and the throw goes into center field past the leaping Blomgren. So safe at second will be Kelly with the steal. There's a runner in scoring position now, with only one gone in the inning for the Spartans. The count's 2-1.
And we've seen Kaufman get out of trouble with runners in scoring position earlier in this game, but now perhaps the fatigue setting in a little bit for him. We'll see if he's able to do the same and retire Iverson here in the top of the 5th inning.
This next pitch will be pitch number 75 on the day for Carl Kaufman. No movement in the outdoor portion of the Wolverine bullpen, at least. Kaufman comes set, looks back at Kelly on second base and fires. It's fouled off to the left side over near that Wolverine bullpen. So that'll even the count up at 2 apiece.
Granted, the weather right now in Ann Arbor is a brisk 37 degrees, so perhaps Coach Eric Bakich not wanting to risk any injury with his pitchers and just having them warm up inside. The real feel right now is 29, so I can't imagine it would be fun to warm up.
Barely above what the Big Ten necessitates for starting a ball game. As this 2-2 pitch misses inside and almost hits Iverson on the knees for ball 3 and runs it full. Big Ten imposes a 28-degree real feel temperature limit to start a ball game, so barely clearing that today here at Ray Fisher. Fans don't seem to mind as they're basking in the sun that's been out for the entire ball game. The payoff pitch here from Kaufman is fouled off and near Yost Ice Arena out of play. We'll do it again at 3-2.
Speaking of Yost Ice Arena, the Michigan Wolverines hockey team getting a big win yesterday in the NCAA hockey tournament. So today they will face off against Boston University in the second round, looking to get to the Frozen Four with a victory.
Yeah, the quarterfinals already. Quick tournament is the hockey tournament, just a couple weekends, not like March Madness, as this one is lined towards right field. But ranging over and making the play is Bullock in straightaway right field. Makes a strong throw into the infield also to hold Kelly to second. Nice play there from Bullock. It retires Iverson for out number 2.
Iverson finally able to put the ball in play, but not able to put it in a good spot. Bullock, one of the speedier players on this team, able to nab the sinking line drive for the second out. And that'll bring up Dan Shimoleski, who's also 0 for 2 today. Struck out in the first, grounded out to the third baseman, Blake Nelson, in the third.
Shimoleski stands in that right-handed batter's box, slightly open stance, has the protection on his left front foot. Watches a breaking ball from Kaufman in there for a strike on the inside corner, 0-1.
Good job there by Kaufman, starting out the AB with the breaking pitch, keeping Shimoleski on his toes.
Kaufman likes to work that front door breaking ball to those right-handed hitters rather. Starts it off the plate inside, brings it right back to the corner, and so far the Spartans have taken a couple off the shoulder, but haven't really been able to do much in terms of putting the ball in play on those pitches. It was in Tonsick that was granted the free pass when he got hit. And Chad Ross-Kelly also got hit, but was ruled that he was over the plate for a ball, or rather didn't move out of the way. Confusing call to say the least. No confusion on this one as the pitch misses low and outside for a ball, and he was the count up at 1-1 on Shimoleski. Shimoleski, the redshirt junior out of Shelby Township, Michigan, grounds one up off of Kaufman on the mound. Akelo Thomas can try to barehand it, but doesn't have a play at first base. So that'll go down as a single there from Shimoleski, despite the ball not leaving the infield. Bryce Kelly moves up to third on the play, and there's runners at the corners with 2 gone. Spartans trying to scratch something across here in the 5th.
Really just an unlucky break there for pitcher Carl Kaufman. Nearly gloved the ball, wasn't able to, and it kind of just dribbled away from him. So now runners on the corners with 2 out. Once again, Kaufman looking to get out of the jam We'll see what he does here against Justin Antoncic.
And Antoncic, as mentioned, he was hit by a pitch there from Carl Coffin back in the first inning. He's also grounded out to Akeo Thomas. This time he taps one high bouncer towards third. Nelson makes a barehanded play, throws to first in time. Nice play there. Blake Nelson really putting on a defensive exhibition in this one. And he retires the Spartans here in the top half of the fifth. We're halfway home at Ray Fisher Stadium. Spartans still haven't been able to scratch across the run. They trail the University of Michigan Wolverines by a score of 6-0. You're on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan baseball. Got Austin Falco alongside Max Brill. You'll once again hear the voice of Peter Monahan for the last few innings of this one, but you're stuck with me through the sixth, unfortunately.
I wouldn't say unfortunately. I think you've done a wonderful job this season. My first year doing Michigan Wolverines baseball broadcast. Definitely enjoyed calling some games with you. I will say the one game that we did the whole game together against Lawrence Tech was not a fun time. But aside from that, I think you've been wonderful.
That was a bit of a rough one. Did get a little bit of recognition, though. Again, a shout out to the NAIA Ball podcast for picking up the call of that game for us. We appreciate the shout out there and happy to provide you with that call. Not sure if they're still listening to us here. I don't think they have much interest in a Michigan State game, but
yeah, D1's boring to those NAIA folks.
Yeah. That was kind of the turning point in the Wolverine season here, was that loss to Lawrence Tech also. Ever since they lost that, 7 straight victories. I don't know if head coach Eric Backage really went off on the team or what. I'd imagine so.
Well, I was talking to one of our own WCBN radio station members, Teo Mackey, who also is on the baseball beat for the Michigan Daily, and he told me that after that contest, he was talking to Coach Backage, and Coach said that the team really just wasn't having fun. They watched film after that game, not of the actual play, but of their demeanors in the dugout and how the team was behaving. It didn't really look like they were playing as a team. Nobody was up on the top step cheering anybody on, and they were all playing for themselves. And Coach said he really put an emphasis on the team playing together. I think you've seen a lot more of that now, guys cheering on, a handful of players always on the top step. And demeanor can really change a team. If you're having fun, it's a lot easier to win.
You have seen a noticeable improvement also with the Wolverines. As you mentioned, everybody up on the top step really enjoying getting vocal during these ball games, even when they fall behind early. They are not behind early here. They lead 6-0 over Michigan State as Jesse Franklin steps in and takes the ball low and in, counts 1-0.
You want to talk about getting behind. They were trailing Lawrence Tech 8-3. That game seemed out of hand, but they've had 2 6-run comebacks since then. And Coach also said it didn't really feel like it was impossible to come back from 6 runs.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 2 6-run comebacks in the span of about a week, not even a week apart. Both of those 2 6-run comebacks haven't really had to come back from anything larger than 1 run in yesterday's ball game so far in this series. The 12-3 win, very comfortable back on Friday. Got a little dicey in the 8th as the 2-0 pitch there from Franklin is tapped into the Wolverine dugout, brings it to 2-1.
Engelman gave the score in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, he really powered that one into that left center field power alley, banged it off the light pole actually out there and tucked it behind the wall. 2-1 pitch here to Jesse Franklin on the outside corner for a strike, 2-2.
Generous call there from the home plate umpire.
That outside corner to lefties has been in flux just about all game long. Not quite consistent for either side. That makes it tough on the pitchers, Erla and Kaufman, to really figure out how they want to attack hitters. It's this breaking ball in the outside corner, barely getting a piece right there is Franklin and tapping it foul. Count remains 2-2.
Franklin on the day 1 for 2 with a double and an RBI that brought home Blake Nelson in the 3rd inning. One of the Wolverines' 6 runs today.
Absolute rope right off the national championship sign in right field, just under the scoreboard at Ray Fisher Stadium. As this 2-2 pitch catches him looking for strike 3. Jesse Franklin frozen there on the high fastball. And Erla records just his 2nd strikeout of the day. Both of them looking in this one. But there's one gone here in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring up Jordan Wogu.
Wogu, after having his average over 600 to start the week, now don't want to say just, but hitting just 409. Again, small sample size, but he's been pretty solid for the Wolverines this season.
Takes the first pitch to the at-bat low for a ball, 1-0. One of the things about Wogu, I think that's really won over head coach Eric Bakich, is his eye at the plate. He has a very comfortable demeanor, doesn't chase very often. He's with a walk earlier in this one, he brings his walk to strikeout ratio 3-4. He takes the pitch low. Good job not to chase on that one. Just sort of talk about his eye. A great breaking ball with just low and away.
And you were commending Blomgren for being able to come in and play defense as a freshman. Wogu, similarly, coming in with excellent plate discipline. That's not really something that you can master very easily and earlier in your career, as Wogu swings and misses there for strike one.
Hey, we up in the count there 2-0 and took a nice big hack at that one. Didn't get a piece of it.
But plate discipline, not something you can acquire very quickly. So coming into college with that developed is a huge advantage for Wogu.
This 2-1 pitch catches the outside corner for a strike, 2-2. Wogu a little bit questionable on that call, but steps back into the play after reevaluating exactly what he thinks he's going to get here from Erla. Erla working from the windup, starts with the glove at his hip, then when he gets the sign, brings up to the shoulder. Now winds up at the 2-2 pitch, just barely getting a piece of it off the end of the bat and fouling it off near the Michigan State dugout is Wogu, so he'll stay alive at 2-2.
Good job on Wogu there to use his hands to foul the pitch off. He knew he didn't want to do anything with that, wasting the pitch and making Erla come at him with something else.
Spoil a good breaking ball there from Erla. Did Wogu. He chokes on the bat now and awaits another 2-2 offering. This one bounces in the dirt. Doesn't even have to think about swinging at that one. He's run the count full, 3-2.
Wogu spitting on that 2-2 offering from Erla. He knows what he wants. We've seen that iron work today. Drew a walk. We'll see if he can do the same here. 3-2 with one out on Jordan Wogu.
Here comes the payoff pitch. Strike 3 call on the outside corner at the belt. So back-to-back strikeouts looking here to start the frame for Erla. Has it 2 outs, nobody on.
And really a tough break there for Wogu. Call could have gone either way based on how the strike zone's being called today, so can't fault him there for taking. The one thing about Erla today has been he's gotten all of his strikeouts looking, and generally swinging strikeouts are more indicative of pitching excellence. Kaufman has 3 of those today.
As Harrison Salter steps up and fouls the first pitch he sees. Back behind him for strike 1.
Because when you see strikeouts swinging, that's the pitcher generating swings and miss. Looking strikeouts could be umpire assisted.
The 0-1 lined and past a diving Iverson over at third base. I thought he was going to have a play on that one, but that second hop just scooted right past his glove into left field. So a single here for Harrison Salter gets him his first hit of the ball game. Puts a runner at first with 2 gone, and now the man of the day so far, I guess, Jack Blomgren. Talked about him earlier on. He's 2 for 2, single, and his first career home run just last inning. That gave the Wolverines what was at the time a 5-0 lead. It has since been elevated to 6-0.
And the left side of the infield has been doing great today. Blomgren 2 for 2 with the dish. Nelson making a handful of good defensive plays in the field.
Blomgren trying to bunt here. He pops it behind the plate. Almost a diving stab there by Lacayo, but can't make the play. So I'll go down to strike 1.
Interesting decision here by coach to have Blomgren bunt with his 2 hits today. Both hard hits.
Yeah, Blomgren really seeing Erler well. I'm with you on that one.
Also 2 outs. I mean, Blomgren definitely one of the speedier players on the squad, so he's more than capable of beating out a base hit.
The infield alignment, I guess, somewhat lends itself if you can get one, kind of push it past where the pitcher and first baseman would be. The second baseman, Young, playing well back in the hole, almost double play depth. As the 0-1 pitch is tapped foul off to the left side. They'll bring it to 0-2.
Erla will have the opportunity here to retire the side with all strikeouts and get out of this inning unscathed. It would be his first scoreless inning since the second.
Still has yet to put the Wolverines down 1-2-3 in this one. And Harrison Salter made sure that wouldn't happen here. He's on first with a single. Blomgren now waits for the 0-2. It's a fastball that misses off the edge away. Brings it to 1-2. See again, Erla trying to get a chase there on a pitch just off the outside part of the plate. And once again, the Wolverines not chasing.
Blomgren has seen Erla excellently today, so knowing to lay off there.
1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss for strike 3. Ball moving down and in on the freshman. So Erla strikes out the side. There was a single thrown in there, but quadruples his strikeout total on the day. Sets the Wolverines down scoreless for the first time in a couple innings. So after 5 innings of play, the score remains Michigan 6, Michigan State nothing. Here at Ray Fisher Stadium and on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
We'll see if Michigan State elects to go with a new pitcher in the bottom of the 6th. Obviously, Erla there able to hold Michigan scoreless, but he's given up runs in more innings than not in today's ball game. Not a stellar appearance from him. Still a very good outing, but hasn't gotten all the best bounces. Obviously, some earned runs coming in the first inning on Miles Lewis's kind of fluky triple. A lot of the times you see a pop out like that caught for what would have been the 3rd out of the inning, but a high pop up, bouncing off the turf, and always comes back to hurt you when you're playing on artificial turf because those bounces go way up. And Lewis and the Wolverines just kept on running, worked out well for them. Erla on the short end of the stick there. For now, though, it's Carl Kaufman coming back out for his 6th inning of work. He's been outstanding today. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and 81 pitches thrown. So we could see him go for 2-ish more innings, depending on how efficient he is with his pitches here as we get into the second half of the game.
Yeah, the injury concerns for Kyle Kaufman seem to be behind him with how he's cruising along in this one, but still not sure how long head coach Eric Bakich wants to send him out there. He left Tommy Henry in for 101 pitches in the game on Friday, and Dragani in for 102 in yesterday's ball game. So not afraid to ride his starters here, especially with a bullpen that's been relatively up and down so far in this season. The first batter that Carl Kaufman will face here in the 6th is Chad Ross Kelly, the designated hitter. And also the hitter in the cleanup spot for Michigan State today. He's 0 for 1, flew out to center field back in the 3rd, but also has a walk to his name back in the 1st inning of this one. First pitch he sees of this at-bat is in there for a strike, 0-1. Ross Kelly, not the prototypical numbers you'd see out of a cleanup hitter, batting just 182. Does have himself a couple of homers, though, as he bounces it up the middle, making the play over the middle by second base Baggis Blomgren. Fires to first in time to get him. Showing off the range now is the freshman Blomgren, and the left side of the infield, like you said, putting on a defensive show.
Blomgren saying to Nelson, anything you can do, I can do better. Both of them with 2 hits today and a couple of nice defensive efforts. So they're having fun out there on the left side of the infield, drawing at each other. A nice play there from Blomgren to get the first out of the 6th inning.
And Nelson has seemingly locked down that third base spot for the Wolverines here over the last couple of weeks, as has Blomgren. And this one is lying into center field in the first pitch by Zach McGuire. The throw actually goes to first from Engelman, just in case McGuire tried to get a little too aggressive with the turn. But as it stands, a nice hard single with 1 gone here in the inning as a runner on. Nobody gone, or rather 1 gone for Nick Lacayo.
Lacayo today lined out, grounded out to Akeo Thomas. 0 for 2, looking for his first hit of the day. Batting average has been falling since the beginning of the series.
Kyle, the diminutive backstop for the Spartans, has caught all 3 games in this series. First pitch of this at-bat from Kaufman to Lacayo, misses low for a ball, 1-0.
Lacayo in this series, 2 for 7 with a walk.
Taps both sides of the plate. Stands very well, crouches very low in that right-handed batter's box. The 2-seamer is in there for a strike, moving towards that inside corner for strike 1 and even the count up at 1-1.
We'll see if Kaufman changes his approach here as he gets later into the game. Coach Bakich, I'm sure, not wanting to risk any injury or any further injury by letting him go more than probably around 90 to 100 pitches.
1-1 pitch waved at and missed there from Lacayo, brings it to 1-2.
We'll see if he starts pounding the strike zone a little more, if he stays with the approach that's worked so far today of trying to induce swings and misses.
Wouldn't be the worst thing to put one in play here, especially if you can get it on the ground. Get yourself out of the inning with a nice low pitch count if you're Kyle Kaufman. Kyle not the speediest runner either, but this time he just goes for the swing and a miss there on strike 3. Good breaking ball sets Lacayo down for out number 2.
An outs and out. Obviously, you'd prefer the double play to get out of the inning, but Kaufman ringing Lacayo up for the first time today, picking up his 4th strikeout, 31st on the season.
So that will bring up the shortstop, Ryan King.
King today 0 for 1 with a walk. Grounded out to Blake Nelson in the 4th inning.
One of only 2 Spartans to reach third base at all today. No one has come home to score. So they're still getting shut out by Kyle Kaufman. The first pitch to King misses low and away for a ball, 1-0. King has his feet very close together in that right-handed batter's box. Doesn't take a huge stride, but it doesn't matter as he lines it over the head of the second base umpire, David Ewell, and into center for a hard, sharp base hit. The Spartans have a couple runners on with 2 gone in the inning, trying to make something happen here. They'll bring up the man that has yet to be retired by Kyle Kaufman, the only one, and that's Bryce Kelly.
If you're the Spartans today, this is the man you want to see at the plate with runners on first and second. An opportunity here to score. Kelly is 2 for 2 with a stolen base on the day.
He's got himself 40% of the Spartan hits today. Coming into this inning, they had just 3. There's been a couple singles here. Left-handed hitting Kelly watches the first pitch miss low and away for a ball. And that's going to warrant a visit from Harrison Salter to the mound.
Somewhat unprecedented from Kelly are the 2 hits. Came into today hitting just .213, but proving why he is a starter in this lineup and why he has the 2nd most starts of any hitter in today's lineup. Improved his average to .234. Looking to pick up another hit here and perhaps drive home the first Spartan run of the day.
And Kelly was the leadoff hitter for the first couple games of this series. Perhaps in an effort to try to shake things up, score some runs, and get a win, is Jake Boss Jr. putting him down in the 8th spot. 1-0 pitch to him is just off the outside corner for ball 2.
And now we see the fatigue getting to Kaufman a little bit. Behind 2-0 on Kelly, who's been one of the most dangerous hitters today.
If I'm not mistaken, I did see some Wolverines run into that indoor facility during the last half inning. Head coach Eric Backich at the very top step right now. This one is golfed towards the left side, headed over near that Wolverine bullpen. It's going to get out of play for a long strike number 2, or strike number 1, rather.
And if we do see Coach Backich make a pitching change, it would presumably be a righty with Corey Young, the right-hander, on deck.
Not sure if he'd go quite that early. He might try to ride Kaufman out, try to get him through this inning with 2 outs. As the 2-1 pitch misses high, though, for ball 3, so he might not really have a choice if Kaufman can't rein in the control.
You mentioned wanting to ride out Kaufman for this inning. The majority of the Spartan lineup today, 7 of 9 hitters, are righties, so if he wants to play those platoon splits, we might see someone like Jeff Criswell, who threw a couple innings on Friday.
Here comes 3-1 pitch on the outside corner for a strike with the fastball. Runs the count full, 3-2. The runners will be moving.
So we'll see movement from the runner on second, Zach McGuire, runner on first, Ryan King. Have to be cognizant of anything to the outfield. Jonathan Engelman and Chris Bullock coming in considerably out there in left field. Wogu still kind of playing his normal position, but Wolverines very aware that the runners will be going on contact here, trying to prevent that run on a hit to the outfield.
Not too worried about extra base power from Kelly either. He doesn't have an extra base hit on the year, so they can afford to do so. The runners take off. This one is bounced high off the turf. Blomgren's going to field it behind the pitcher's mound, but has 0 chance to make a play. Just one of those turf singles there for Kelly, as it got about as high as a normal pop-up would after bouncing off the turf, and that's going to load the bases up for the Spartans here with 2 gone.
Corey Young coming to the dish. Entering today was 0 for 8, now 0 for 10. So I don't think he poses much of a threat to Carl Kaufman either way. It looks like I can't tell if that's Chris Fetter or Eric Bakich coming out to have a little conversation with Kaufman. I think it's Coach Fetter.
Yeah, it is indeed Chris Fetter, the pitching coach, first-year pitching coach here for the Wolverines, coming from the Los Angeles Dodgers organization before this. Said he couldn't resist coming back home to Michigan.
He's received nothing but praise from the players in our preseason media day prior to the team's trip down south and out west. Saw Alec Renard and Jason Van Senna talk about how much they appreciated Fetter coming home to work with them and how he's been a very, very welcoming presence and calming presence for these veteran pitchers. Really knows how to deal with the pitching staff. We've seen the Wolverines so far this season, since that Lawrence Tech game, have had very, very good pitching efforts. And yesterday, obviously, only giving up 1 run. They've given up none today. So Coach Fetter doing a good job with them in his first year.
And a lot of youth that he's working with on this staff, which just speaks even higher to just how much he's done. The starters this series for the Wolverines were sophomore, freshman, sophomore, and they have just about shut down the Spartan lineup all weekend long. Karl Kaufman here, the sophomore, will need to shut down Corey Young one more time if he wants to keep the shutout intact. He has a good first step here with a fastball, strike 1.
Kaufman, good job there after allowing Kelly to reach on a single, bouncing back, throwing first pitch strike.
Very open stance. Does Corey Young have in that right-hand batter's box? The pitch misses inside, gets away from Salter just a little bit, but goes down that third base line, so McGuire doesn't even think about coming home.
Salter has done a good job today behind the dish. We haven't seen any wild pitches or any pass balls.
Cue the wild pitcher pass ball. Kaufman taking a long look in for the sign. Now gets it. Comes set, glove at his chest. 1-1 pitch. Swung at and missed for strike 2.
And I mentioned this before, but Salter and Kaufman were a team since 8 years old. Kaufman pitching to Salter in his first ever pitching appearance in Little League. So the familiarity doing good things for the Wolverines here. Now it's 1-2 to Corey Young.
Kaufman looking for his 5th strikeout of the day. The 1-2 pitch swung at and missed for strike 3. Salter pumped up behind the plate, yelling at his pitcher in congratulations. That should probably be the end of the day for Karl Kaufman, but he ends it with authoritative fashion, striking out Corey Young, getting out of a bases-loaded jam, and keeping the shutout intact through 6 innings pitched for him. We're through 5.5 innings of play overall here at Ray Fisher Stadium. The score is still Michigan 6, Michigan State 0 on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan baseball.
In that inning for the Spartans, no runs on 3 hits, no errors, and leaving the bases loaded. So far today, they've stranded 9 runners. And obviously they've driven across 0 as the score now 6-0 going into the bottom of the 6th. So it hasn't been for lack of trying. They just haven't been able to get anybody home from third.
Yeah, just haven't quite been able to crack Karl Kaufman there all day long. And as a result, they find themselves in a hole here and already having to make the first pitching change of the ball game. It'll be Mike Makma coming in for the Spartans, the 6'7" sophomore out of Holland, Michigan. A huge presence out there on the mound. Looks like he barely fits on that rubber. For Makma coming into this one, he's made 8 appearances, including a start. His ERA at 1.56 on the year.
1.56.
I'm sorry, 1.56, yes.
So a pristine ERA from him. We'll see if he's able to shut the Wolverines down here after they've been able to basically tee off on Erla today.
Something they're not expecting to see here out of Makma will be a lot of walks in 17 1/3 innings pitched. He's only walked 2 batters. Meanwhile, he has struck out 16, flirting with that 9 strikeouts per 9 number. Opponents only hit 183 against Makma. A good pitching staff for the Spartans, especially coming out of the pen, have held Michigan intact at times this series, but the Wolverine offense just doing too much, especially late in Friday's game and early on in today's ball game. We'll see the flamethrower Makma coming in now. Fires the first pitch to Akeo Thomas in there for a strike, 0-1.
Final line for Erla. 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he is on the hook for the loss for the Spartans. ERA on the season falling from 2.15 to 3.15.
K.O. Thomas awaits the 0-1 pitch here. It misses high for a ball, 1-1. Thomas 1 for 2 on the day against the aforementioned Erla. He singled in the 4th. Also had himself a walk back in the 2nd. This time the 1-1 pitch here from Mike Machma misses high for ball 2. Really bringing the heat is Machma. We haven't really had the radar gun working at Ray Fisher Stadium this season since the Wolverines have come home. But a noticeable uptick in velocity when the 6'7 Machma comes into the ballgame. A 2-1 pitch misses high there from K.O. Thomas and runs to 3-1. So just as I said before the inning, Machma not one to walk many batters. He's behind in the count here to the first batter he sees today.
Thomas now looking for his 2nd walk of the day, and that would be his 3rd time reaching base safely in this contest.
3-1 pitch. Catches the inside. No, it doesn't. Rewarded ball 4. I thought home plate umpire Brent Rice was motioning for a strike call. Instead, he was motioning to K.O. Thomas that he can go and take his spot down at first base.
So Thomas, once again, on first base for the Wolverines with nobody in front of him. We'll see if he attempts his first steal of the day with Chris Bullock coming to the dish, who's 1 for 3 with 2 steals and a run scored.
Bullock, the lefty, against the righty Machma. First pitch to Bullock, squares on a bunt, then pulls back as this one misses low for a ball, 1-0.
That's something we've seen Coach Bakich unafraid to utilize this season is the sacrifice bunt. And with Bullock, one of the speedier players in this Wolverines lineup, certainly has the opportunity to beat out anything he puts on the ground.
Bullock, the sophomore, stands in there and awaits the 1-0 pitch. It's a breaking ball that misses low and in for ball 2. Thomas 7 for 9 from stolen bases this season over there on first base. Hasn't gotten a good read on Machma yet in this at-bat.
Machma, you mentioned, coming into today with just 2 walks, struggling with his control early here.
Big lead from Thomas, but he's not going here as the 2-0 pitch catches the outside corner with a fastball for strike 1. Head coach Eric Bakich gives the signs as Bullock checks that cheat sheet that he's got on one more time before he steps in for the 2-1 pitch here from Machma. Machma always works out of the stretch, has to hear the runner on. K.O. Thomas is going. The pitch is in there for a strike. Throw in a second, not in time. The speedy K.O. Thomas swipes his 8th bag of the year. Now he's going to go to third as the throw gets away into center field. K.O. Thomas manufacturing just about a run here by himself, just 90 feet away, nobody gone in the inning.
I don't think even Thomas realized the ball had gotten away. I definitely had a little bit of trouble seeing it as the sun begins to fall a little bit in the sky, getting right in our eyes. The ball trickled away there from the shortstop Ryan King and into center field. So Thomas now on third with nobody out.
2-2 pitch hitter Christian Bullock is another breaking ball that misses low and in for ball 3. The count's full on the sophomore right fielder. Just 90 feet away is the 7th run of the ball game. Looking to kick the extra point are the Wolverines. The 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss at a good breaking ball there from Machma. So Bullock goes down on strikes here. There'll be 1 out in the inning now. Still that runner on third with Jonathan Engelman stepping up to the plate.
And that's Bullock's second strikeout of the day, something we've seen him struggle a little bit with this season. He has 14 strikeouts in 69 plate appearances this season.
Jonathan Engelman has had his troubles with strikeouts early on in the season also, but not too much over the last couple of weeks. Got off to a very slow start to the Wolverines center fielder, but as we've mentioned, really coming on strong, and he hits this one down the left field line off the umpire there at third base and in fair territory. It's going to go down as a single. Possibly could have gone as a double had Eric Lovelace not been in the way. regardless, it is an RBI single there from Jonathan Engelman, his second of the ball game, and Wolverines have indeed kicked that extra point. The score is 7-0. They lead the Spartans.
Tough break there for Jonathan Engelman. Not something you see a whole lot of. Umpire now getting checked on by, looks like, Michigan State Spartans head coach, having a conversation of some sort, but that's something you're taught as an umpire, is to stand in fair territory so that if a ball does hit you, you know the call is 100% going to be fair. And Engelman rifling that one down the third baseline, just a single show for it, could have been extra bases had it not hit Lovelace.
It's the second time that Jake Bosch Jr. has had to come out and argue a call with the umpires. Might be getting this one at least discussed. The umpires will indeed come all together, possibly asking home plate umpire Brent Rice if he saw anything. Eric Lovelace was doing his job to get out of the way on that one. Looked to be okay. He made the call right away and didn't look any worse for wear afterwards.
Don't quite know what exactly they are discussing.
And I think it is ruled that Engelman just gets a single there.
I don't quite know what the alternative would have been.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe when a ball hits an umpire, it's a judgment call as to where to place the runners. So that may have been what was being discussed. They ended up just deciding that Engelman would take his spot at first base and stick with an RBI single. Jake Bosch Jr. is still not happy about it for some reason. I don't know if he's still unhappy with the fair foul call, but that seemed fair enough.
Well, it was certainly the right call by the third base umpire. If it hits you, it's fair.
Blake Nelson will step up now, runner on first. Engelman going on the pitch, breaking ball, misses high. The throw down to second, not in time. Wolverines just continue to try to test Nick Lacayo, and he continues to fail at throwing out these Wolverine runners. That is, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th stolen base of the ball game.
And you saw shortstop Ryan King field that throw from the catcher Nick Lacayo. Kind of a freshman mistake not applying the tag despite the ball getting there late, because Engelman came sliding off the base and could have been tagged out, but scampered back in time.
1-0 pitch here. Nelson ground ball up the middle for a base hit. Engelman's going to be sent. No, he will not. He will be held at the last second there. Running in was Antonsic and holding Engelman over there at third base. Wolverines not trying anything too risky here. Just want to make sure they're getting runners on base and staying on base without running themselves out of an inning. So runners at the corners. Miles Lewis steps up to the plate, and we may have ourselves a little mound visit here that looks like what's going to happen. It's the pitching coach, Mark Vandermeed, walking out there. There is action in the Spartan bullpen right now. We also have seen Vandermeed be the one to make pitching changes earlier on in this series back here at Ray Fisher. Hasn't motioned to the pen yet.
Vandermeed, in his second stint with the Michigan State Spartans, he was an assistant coach from 2009 to 2014, became the Eastern Michigan head coach in 2015, and now coming back to return as the pitching coach for the Spartans here in 2017-2018.
Likes the color green, apparently.
It would seem to be the case.
And the state of Michigan hasn't left that either. But highly regarded, being brought back there by the Spartans after not quite working out at Eastern Michigan as their head coach. A couple of highly regarded pitching coaches on these two staffs.
Vandermeed having a little trouble as a head coach, posting just a 70-106 record in his 3 seasons with the Eagles.
He leaves Mike Makma in here to face Miles Lewis. Lewis, the switch hitter, batting lefty against the righty Makma. Pickoff throw to first. Almost catches Nelson flat-footed there, but he dives back in safely.
That's something we've seen the Wolverines struggle a little bit with this season. A handful of times they've been picked off of first base, nearly getting Nelson there.
Nelson looks like he wants to make something happen over there. Very aggressive lead. It's not too large. He's not going here as Lewis lines one over the leaping McGuire and into the right field corner. 1 run's going to score. Coming around second, headed to third is Nelson. Miles Lewis slides into second base with an RBI double. His second double of the ball game. This one a little more definitive. He drives in the Wolverines' 8th run of the ball game now. They lead by a score of 8-0 over the Michigan State Spartans.
Lewis doing work today after last season leading the Wolverines in doubles, picking up 2 here today, in addition to 2 RBIs and a run scored. So Lewis stuffing the stat sheet as the designated hitter, doing his job. And now we're going to see a pitching change for the Michigan State Spartans.
And we get another visit to the mound there. I can't tell if that's head coach Jake Boss Jr. Jake Boss Jr. did not have a jacket on for most of the ball game every time he came out. Coming out now, I believe he did put a jacket on, perhaps getting a little chilly here, as he takes the ball from Mike Machma and goes to the bullpen. That will be the day for Machma. He's still responsible for those runners on second and third, though, so his line not quite closed as he is serenaded here by the PA system at Ray Fisher Stadium. Well, you had a bad day, and they're not wrong.
Tough here for the Spartans. I mean, having to take this from the PA at Ray Fisher. You saw in pregame warmups as they trotted out for their infield-outfield practice. The PA immediately switched to the soft Miley Cyrus song, The Climb, and then now kind of poking a little fun at Machma with the Bad Day by Daniel Powder.
There's something to be said about the production value here at Ray Fisher. They do a great job altogether. I know 90s night was a couple nights ago, and a couple times we questioned whether or not they were actually 90 songs they were using, but that was our fault. They more than earned their keep. Barely getting in a couple with Smash Mouth with a 1999 song. I think it was All-Star, if I'm not mistaken, and getting in there with a 1990 song. The song escapes me at this point. I just remember that we questioned them a couple times and should not have. The new pitcher coming on now here for the Spartans is Caleb Sleeman. Sleeman, a 6'2 righty out of Alto, Michigan. So far on the season has made 5 appearances. His ERA not looking too pretty at 11.74 as an 0-1 record. In 7 2/3 innings pitched, he's struck out 11, walked 7 though, giving up 10 runs, or 13 runs rather. 10 of them are earned. And unlike the previous pitchers in the ball game, and Machma and Erla, the batting average against him pretty high up there, 361 in this early go. So Wolverines with a chance here to potentially do even more damage. Couple runners in scoring position, and what should be on paper the easiest pitcher to hit for the Spartans that they've seen so far today. Of course, that's never how baseball works out. It'll be Jesse Franklin, the one to get the first looks at Sleeman. Franklin's 1 for 3 on the ball game with an RBI double. It's also flown out and struck out in this one.
You have to wonder if now Michigan State is opting to kind of just get their relievers some work, down 8 here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Michigan threatening 2 more. You just want some of your guys to see high leverage work.
Still playing the infield in, though, are the Spartans. Runners on second and third. First pitch from Sleeman to Franklin misses low for a ball, 1-0. Sleeman, redshirt sophomore. His 3rd year on campus up in East Lansing. Pitching to Jesse Franklin in his 1st year on campus down here in Ann Arbor. Fires a 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, 1-1.
And now Lacayo heading out to have a little conference with Sleeman. Sleeman on the season, nearly as many walks as strikeouts, which is never a good sign. Got behind on Franklin, 1-0, evened it up at 1-1 with 1 out. Runners on second and third here for the Wolverines in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Great, got a chance to pad the stats a little bit here. Came into this game with 5 RBIs. He could add 2 more to the one he's already required today. He swings and misses at a breaking ball in the outside corner, though, and breaks the count to 1-2. Franklin stands in there at 6'2", 205 out of Seattle, Washington. Open stance and left-handed batter's box. The 1-2 pitch to him. Fouls straight back to the screen. Will stay alive at 1-2.
Good job by Franklin there to remain in this count against the new relief pitcher, Sleeman.
Sleeman stares in for the sign with that almost a white glove. It's very light tan on his left hip. Ball behind his back. Once he gets the sign, he comes set with the ball right at the middle of his chest and out away from him just slightly. This one goes to Franklin. He fouls it down the left field line. That one's going to get out of play. And we'll do it again at 1-2.
I'm kind of surprised that Lewis isn't taking a bigger lead at second base with the infield in and nobody near him. You want to be able to score on anything to the outfield. Lewis probably has about a 25-foot lead now, but now extending it a little bit. All right, on the last pitch, wasn't out quite this far, nearly out to the shortstop here.
Breaking ball there on 1-2, misses outside, almost squirts away from Lacayo, but he's able to get on top of it. The count's going to run to 2-2. Yeah, to your point there, Lewis has been fairly conservative, not really pushing the issue too much. He probably could get another 5-10 feet if he really wanted to. Perhaps just protecting in case the Spartans put on some sort of pickoff play down at second. The 2-2 pitch is a high chopper on the infield. It's fielded by the shortstop, King. He throws home, not in time. The Wolverines score another run and a questionable decision, to say the least, there from the Spartans shortstop.
Spartan shortstop Ryan King is a freshman, and that's not the first time this inning where we've even seen him make a rookie mistake, so to speak. On Engelman's stolen base earlier in the inning, Engelman came off of second after the slide, and King didn't even bother applying the tag because the throw was late. And now here we see him going home on the high chopper when he didn't really have the play. So King having a little bit of a tough day out there at short.
Wasn't a force out either, so you really had to make a perfect throw and get that down and give your catcher Lacayo a chance, and it really wasn't one on that play. So we runners at the corners now, and Jordan Wogu stepping up to the plate. First pitch breaking ball to Wogu misses high. It's 1-0. But down is a fielder's choice and RBI for Jesse Franklin, so he doesn't get to raise the batting average up at all, but gets to tack on another ribby to his season total. Brings him up to 7 on the year.
So Nelson, his second run of the day. Now we'll see if Blomgren, who's coming up later in the order, can match his third hit of the day and second run.
1-0 pitch misses inside to Wogu. It's 2-0. Been almost a competition there on that left side of the infield. As you mentioned, Nelson, 3 hits, an RBI, a couple runs scored. Some great defensive plays.
And the freshman doing work here for the Wolverines. Franklin just reached first base. Wogu up now, and Salter and Blomgren do up.
Wogu hits one high in the air towards right field, drifting back in deep right field is Shimileski. It'll be plenty of distance there on that one to score. Lewis from third. He comes scampering home for run number 10 on the day. Wolverines have really blown this one open with a 4-run 6 so far. It's 10-0.
And now we'll get to see the catcher, Harrison Salter, try to collect his second hit of the day. Wolverines have already put up 4 runs in this inning. And just a quick update for you guys. Michigan hockey getting out to a 1-0 lead over Boston University in their second round NCAA tournament matchup.
Meanwhile, Harrison Salter swings and misses that one in the dirt for a ball. 1-0, or 0-1 rather.
Goal was scored by the defenseman, Quinn Hughes.
One of the most talented players in the country, the youngest player in the country in all of college hockey.
He's going to be a first-round pick, and a high first-round pick at that, probably going to go in the top 5.
So a swing and a miss there from Harrison Salter at a high fastball, puts him down on the count 0-2. Salter, the brother of Will Salter on the Michigan State squad, both out of Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Will, the senior, also a catcher like his younger brother Harrison. 0-2 pitch here to Harrison Salter's a breaking ball that skips off the glove of Lacayo. The pitch was high. It goes into the Spartan dugout. So Franklin will just get to advance to second base. Now runner in scoring position here in a 1-2 count for Harrison Salter.
They're going to rule that a passed ball. They're going to rule that a wild pitch, actually. Kind of surprising. Looked like Lacayo should have gloved that.
Yeah, the pitch was high, but it really just skipped off the glove. It was more on the catcher there, but catcher catches that one right on the corner for strike 3 called on Harrison Salter. So Salter's strikeout looking ends the inning, but once again, the Wolverines score 4 in that frame and really blow this one open. The score through 6 innings of play, Michigan 10, Michigan State 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball on WCBN Sports. I personally will be departing now for the rest of this ballgame. I've been Austin Falco. Thank you for listening in. And it'll be Max Brill and Peter Monahan taking you the rest of the way in this one to what looks to be, or it should probably be, a comfortable Michigan victory.
In that inning for the Wolverines, they sent 8 men to the dish, collected 4 runs on 3 hits, no errors, 1 man left on base. As we head to the top of the 7th here at Ray Fisher Stadium, as Austin just mentioned, Wolverines leading at 10-0. I'm Max Brill, joined now by Peter Monahan.
Hi, Max. Good to be back for the 7th, 8th, and 9th of this matchup in Ann Arbor. I think the weather is definitely a lot better than when I was calling in the first 3. So
It's gotten sunny and hot. The sun beating down on the... It looks like we have a couple hundred fans out here today. I haven't seen the stadium this full all season. Perhaps a rivalry matchup and the Sunday afternoon game, encouraging people to come out and watch their Wolverines.
yeah, it's definitely nice to see such a good crowd. Kind of a shame we didn't have the weather that was kind of upcoming. I think it's supposed to be 50 tomorrow, so kind of wish we had that weather. But nonetheless, still a great day for baseball and a great day if you're a fan of the Wolverines. Up 10-0 as we head into the 7th.
And it'll be a pitching change here for the Wolverines. Carl Kaufman's spectacular day is done. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts for him. He exits the game as the pitcher of record for the Wolverines, looking to pick up what would be his 3rd win of the season if the Wolverines are able to hold on to this 10-0 lead. Entering for him is Troy Miller, the junior right-hander, 6'4", 215 out of Rockford, Michigan. On the season for Miller, he's been solid. He's had good strikeout numbers, but struggled a little bit with walks and hits. So 5.28 ERA heading into today, 15.1 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts and 8 walks. So we'll see if Miller, we'll see which Miller we get today, if we're going to get strikeout Miller or walk, hit, a lot of trouble Miller.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in a great situation, kind of a low-pressure situation with that lead, so we'll see.
Miller's first pitch to the leadoff hitter, Zach Iverson, is taken low for ball 1. Iverson today 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a fly out to the right fielder, Bullock, in the 5th inning. Miller comes set, delivers the 1-0, and it's lined to shortstop. Blomgren eats it up, fires over to first base, an easy out for Troy Miller to lead off the 1st inning.
And I know you guys were talking about it a lot in those middle innings, but that Michigan infield has really been really impressive today, and not really any errors to speak of. Really a lot of great decisions. So always nice to see that continuation of solid play.
So Miller now will face his 2nd batter of the day, Dan Shimoleski, who's 1 for 3. He picked up a hit in the 5th inning, and his first pitch is taken for called strike 1. Miller working from the windup. The 0-1 is a curveball high above Shimoleski's head. Count now even up at 1-1.
It's kind of a tough pitch to see, especially for someone like Troy Miller, who's had a few issues with control. So obviously you'd like to see him rein it in.
Miller's 1-1 is popped out towards right field. Bullock camped underneath it and grabs that for the 2nd out of the 7th inning.
2 quick outs for Miller. That's definitely what you'd like to see if you're someone trying to get into rhythm. And I don't see much life in the batters of the Spartans. So we'll see if he has any real challenges in the rest of the game.
Completely agreed with you, Peter. I think efficiency is a key for Miller, and coming in and able to get 2 quick outs on 5 pitches. Really a good job for him setting the tone here in the 7th. First pitch to Justin Antoncic. It's taken outside for ball 1. Antoncic today 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Grounded out in his other 2 ABs. Bases empty here with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Miller's 1-0 to Antoncic is taken high, 2-0. So after retiring the first 2 batters on 5 pitches, now behind on the first 2 pitches, 2-0 to Antoncic.
And that was another ball kind of right by the helmet of the Spartan batter there.
The 2-0 to Antoncic is taken outside for ball 3. So Miller in danger of walking Antoncic on 4 pitches. (3-0) to Antoncic, taken right down the middle for strike 1.
That's definitely what you want to see if you're Troy, trying to establish his presence in the zone right now after he kind of lost it with those first couple pitches.
And a textbook take there from Antoncic. Now swings and a misses at the 3-1 pitch on the outside corner. So Miller, after falling behind 3-0, has now run the count full to 3-2 and a chance to retire the Spartans in order for the first time since the 4th inning.
Looked like the Spartan 3-hole was trying to really drive that one.
And the payoff pitch to Antoncic is way outside for ball 4. Miller clearly not happy with himself there, flinging his arms around after that pitch. Looked like it got away from him a little bit, so Antoncic will head down to first base with his first walk of the day. And it'll bring up Chad Ross-Kelly.
We'll see if Miller's able to get this key third out with Ross-Kelly, someone who's not been that productive this year or today, really. So definitely someone you want to target if you're trying to get that final out.
Ross-Kelly 0 for 2 with a walk today. He's successfully reached base in every game in this series. And that trend continued today as he takes the first pitch to him outside for a ball. Miller wants a ball change, and he'll get it from the home plate umpire, Brent Rice. Runner on first here with 2 out in the top of the 7th. Troy Miller, who took over for Carl Kaufman, on the bump. He's facing Chad Ross-Kelly, the designated hitter for the Spartans today. The 1-0. Swung on and popped high in the air on the right side of the infield. Camped under it is Jesse Franklin. And it ends up being a K.O. Thomas who takes that one. So a 1-2-3-4 inning for Troy Miller in his first inning of work in that inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. And because of the walk, 1 man left on base. After 7.5, it's the Michigan Wolverines 10, the Michigan State Spartans 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of Michigan Wolverines baseball. I'm Max Brill, joined by Peter Monahan. And as we head into the late innings of today's game, Peter, what is something you want to see the Wolverines work on up by so much?
Well, I think something I'd like to see is probably a little bit more, strong contact. Maybe try to see if you can hit for a little bit of power right now. They've pretty much done everything else in this game. Strong defense, good pitching. They've ran the base paths well. So, I might like to see some of my guys take a little harder swing, see if they can get a little bit more comfortable swinging heavy.
And speaking of power, leading off the inning for the Wolverines will be Jack Blomgren. It's Blomgren, Thomas, Bullock due up for the Wolverines, and Blomgren with the Wolverines' lone home run today, his first of his career. After starting off the season not exactly well offensively, he's finally over the Mendoza line. Today, 2 for 3. It's been a lot of production from the left side of that Wolverines infield. Blake Nelson as well with a couple of hits. He's 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Blomgren, as I mentioned before, 2 for 3 with that home run. So we'll see if he can match his infield mate.
It's definitely refreshing to see that kind of jolt of offense from those guys today. They've been so dominant on that left side of the infield that, whenever they get hot offensively, it makes them a very powerful duo.
And it's going to be the same pitcher, it looks like, here for Michigan State. Caleb Sleeman on for his second inning of work. And we're going to have a catching change here for the Michigan State Spartans. Can't quite tell who it is back there. Dealing with a little glare from the sun, but as soon as we know who it is, we'll let you know.
If I was a betting man, I'd say it's Will Salter there.
Will Salter, the other Salter, as Blomgren lines his third hit of the game into center field. So Harrison Salter started the game for the Wolverines behind the dish, and his brother now, Will Salter, taking over catching responsibilities for the Spartans. So I'm sure the Salter family very happy to see both their boys get into this game.
Yeah, I think if I'm the Spartans, I'd probably like to see Salter come into the game a little bit earlier than he did. I know Lacayo had a bunch of issues dealing with runners on base, so maybe when they were kind of more in the game, I would have liked to see a catching change.
And we have a change in center field as well for the Spartans. First pitch taken by Thomas Lowe. The new center fielder for Michigan State is number 1, Danny Gleaves. Akeo Thomas now at the plate is 1 for 3 on the day with a walk. Takes the second pitch for a called strike on the inside corner. Count now 1-1 on him.
We'll see if Akeo can kind of continue that success that he's had recently, sitting just under 300. He's definitely looking very valuable as that Michigan leadoff hitter.
And last week he was hitting in the 230s, so we've seen Thomas on a hot streak of sorts as he takes the 1-1 on the outside corner for called strike 2.
Still no outs here, so lots of potential for some Wolverines runs still as they look to be pretty locked in at the plate.
Thomas with the bat on his right shoulder, ready for the pitch from Sleeman, who works from the stretch here in the bottom of the 7th. 1-2 his line, right back up the middle, and off the foot of Sleeman, the second baseman, Young, gloves it, fires to first. Thomas retired on the 1-4-3 putout. Heading to second base is Blomgren.
That was definitely a close call. I thought Akeo might have actually gotten there for a second, but the first base ump obviously has that better line than I do.
So Thomas unfortunately retired there. Bad luck for him after a nice line drive right back up the middle. Bring up Chris Bullock. Bullock today 1 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts and a run scored. He's also got 2 steals. Takes the first pitch low for ball 1.
I think if I'm Michigan, playing with this lead and with only 1 out, I might send the runner at second and see if this new catcher is any different than Lacayo defensively.
So one of the old baseball conventions is to not steal if you have scored more runs than there are outs remaining. But we know that Coach Bakich is not afraid to send his runners regardless of the game score, as Bullock takes on the outside corner for strike 1.
Yeah, maybe not the the most honorable baseball move, but definitely something to consider.
So Caleb Sleeman from the stretch now working on Christian Bullock. The count is 1-1 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Ball is taken outside for 2-1. Runner on second base is Jack Blomgren, who's 3 for 4 today with 2 singles and a dinger. Sleeman gets the sign from his catcher, Salter. Comes set. And the delivery to Bullock. That one is slapped into right field on the ground. A base hit. The right fielder comes up throwing, and they'll have to hold Blomgren at third base. A nice throw there from Shimoleski to keep Blomgren at third. So Bullock picking up his second hit of the day. Single to the right fielder, and he'll bring up Jonathan Engelman, who is 2 for 4 on the day with a stolen base, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Stuffing the stat sheet, especially after Friday hitting 2 home runs. He's been doing it all for the Wolverines in this series.
Yeah, he's looked absolutely fantastic. He's really been a big improvement over last season. I remember watching him last season. Obviously, he had a solid season, but moving to really one of the more important hitting positions here. Engelman's really been that stalwart for the Wolverines.
So Engelman steps in. He'll face Sleeman for the first time today. Takes the first pitch on the inside corner for strike one. Engelman has his average all the way up to 326 with his performance today, looking to build on that. The Wolverines now with 3 different players hitting over 300 in their lineup.
And definitely something to note with runners in scoring position, both over 400.
So Engelman has had a little bit of that clutch gene this season. Second pitch is fouled down the first baseline. Count now 0-2 on the Wolverines center fielder. Engelman now steps back in, waiting for the pitch from Sleeman. Count is 0-2 with 1 out on him. Runners on the corners for the Wolverines. Sleeman comes set and delivers. Ball taken on the outside part of the plate. Count now at 1-2.
Kind of tough luck if you're Sleeman there. I think he was definitely trying to get Engelman to reach and try to get that second out with a strikeout there, but Engelman not biting on that one.
Engelman, a pretty disciplined hitter. He does have 21 strikeouts this season, but as of late, we haven't seen him go down on strikes as much. 1-2 now is the count on him. Pitch from Sleeman is slapped down to third base. They're going to try the double play to second and on to first. Safe. Engelman beats out the throw, so a run will come home. Engelman's 3rd RBI of the day on the fielder's choice from Iverson to Corey Young. And the Wolverines now lead it 11-0 here in the bottom of the 7th.
It really looked like Iverson was going to be able to put out Engelman, but that bad luck kind of continues for Iverson. He hasn't had the best day so far, and he's had a few hiccups defensively, so unable to get that double play. Definitely hurts if you're the Spartans, and you got to leave Sleeman out there to kind of keep battling this Wolverines batting.
Certainly not Sleeman's fault that Blomgren came around to score there. Just kind of a lucky break or unlucky break for him. Now at the dish is Blake Nelson, who takes the first pitch in the dirt for ball 1. Nelson on the day 3 for 4 with a run batted in and 2 runs scored. After Blomgren got a hit earlier this inning, I'm sure he'll be looking to one-up him. So Sleeman comes set, working from the stretch here. Pitch to Nelson. Nelson checks his swing and takes low and outside for ball 2.
That was a nice take. These Wolverines hitters are still remaining very patient despite that large lead. 11-0 right now with 2 outs in the 7th.
It's always good to see them working on their patience at the dish. It's something we saw them struggle with early in the season, but they've certainly gotten better. As a pitch taken on the outside corner by Nelson for strike 1. Count now 2-1.
Still a good count here for Nelson, but Sleeman's trying to work his way back and take control of that count.
So Sleeman, 2-1 to Blake Nelson, delivers. And Nelson slaps that one right to the shortstop, who flips with his glove to Corey Young, the second baseman, and that'll do it for the Wolverines. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning, they scratch across 1 earned run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. At the end of 7, it's the Michigan Wolverines 11 and the Michigan State Spartans 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast for the Michigan Wolverines. I'm Max Brill, joined by Peter Monahan as we head to the top of the 8th here at Ray Fisher Stadium.
It's just been a good game all around here for the Wolverines. There haven't been really any big errors. If you really wanted to point out some errors, you'd probably have to go all the way back to those first 3 innings where Kaufman had 1 or 2 control issues, and that led to a few runners on base. But, they obviously didn't make it across as the score sits 11-0. So, the Wolverines have just played a really sound defensive game, and their bats have shown up as well. So, tough to beat when both of those are going for them.
And we're going to get a new pitcher here for the Michigan Wolverines. It's going to be the left-hander, number 20, Jace Van Senna. Sorry, the right-hander, Van Senna. We've seen a lot in relief and a little bit starting as well. So kind of a swing man for the Wolverines this season. His numbers, he's got a 7.9 ERA, 1-3 record, appeared in 5 games, 4 of them starts, 13.2 innings pitched, 12 earned runs allowed, and 10 strikeouts for the right-hander.
This is definitely a nice chance to lower that kind of large ERA. I'm sure 7.9 doesn't necessarily tell the whole story, but I'm sure the rotation would like to have that ERA down a little bit.
So Troy Miller's day done. He exits with, after 1 inning pitched, 1 walk, no strikeouts, no runs, and no hits. So a good day from Troy Miller to get his ERA below 5. And now Vancena will look to lower his 7.9 ERA. In order to do that, he will have to retire Zach McGuire, Will Salter, and Ryan King, the due-up for the Michigan State Spartans.
And just a quick update on other Michigan sports. It looks like the Michigan Wolverines hockey team is up 2-1 on Boston University in that crucial matchup. So always good to see fellow Wolverine athletes succeeding.
Yeah, at the end of one period for them, Calderon and Hughes both scoring goals. Greenway for Boston University also getting on the board. First pitch here from Vancena to McGuire is taken outside for ball 1. McGuire on the day 1-for-3 with a single and stranded at third base in the 6th inning. Vancena comes set and delivers. McGuire pops that one foul down the first base line into the parking lot. And it bounces up and over a car. So unharmed out there in the right field parking lot are the cars for now.
Those cars have had quite a lot to deal with today. Lots of foul balls over there.
Indeed. Now Vancena delivers the 1-1 to McGuire. Taken low and away for ball 2.
Good patience here from McGuire.
McGuire, the senior infielder for the Spartans, so he knows what he's doing and has been doing it for quite a while as he takes a hack and misses there at the 4th pitch of the AB from Vancena. It is 2-2.
Just kind of Vancena coming back and saying, I know what I'm doing as well, and hits him with that nice ball, just pulling them away.
So the 2-2 pitch from Vancena is fouled down the right side, and it's going to land, looks like, in the parking lot once again. We have some action out there in the Spartans bullpen. A right-hander warming up. So Vancena once again trying the 2-2 to McGuire. McGuire holding up on the ball in the dirt, so the count now runs full.
We'll see if McGuire's going to be able to put anything in play, possibly jolt some kind of Spartan offense. Down 11-0, not a lot of hope, but, the game is not over till it's over.
Payoff pitch to McGuire is popped out to right center field. Engelman ranging over, makes the grab for the first out of the 8th inning.
It was a nice play by Engelman. Pretty much went over to where Bullock had started. I think that might have been Bullock's ball, but obviously Engelman had the better read on it.
So 1 out now here in the top of the 8th inning. On the bump for the Wolverines is Jace Vancena, who just took over for Troy Miller, and stepping into the dish is Will Salter, the catcher for Michigan State, who came in as a defensive replacement for Nick Lacayo in the previous inning. Takes the first pitch down the middle for called strike 1. So both of the Salter brothers seeing some action today. Will looking to pick up his first hit, and he stabs that one down to third base. The sliding play by Nelson, but a wild throw pulls Franklin off the bag. So Salter looks like they're probably going to give him a hit for that. So now both Salter brothers with a single on the day. And coming up to the dish for Michigan State is Ryan King, the freshman shortstop. King today 1 for 2 with a walk.
King's had kind of an okay day batting, but it's more on the defensive end where he's kind of been unlucky, and that's where the Spartans have had issues.
And King drives this one deep into the left center field gap. That's one going to get down and roll to the wall. Salter coming around third base. King at second, but they're going to hold up there. as Thomas fields the relay throw, and the Spartans now threatening once again here in the top of the 8th, looking to scratch across their first runs of the day. Van Sena having a little bit of trouble here, as we've become accustomed to this season, unfortunately.
Yeah, but the fielder's kind of helping him out there. Wogu, the left fielder, runs over and kind of acts like he is the ball and, kind of feigns throwing it into the infield and slows down the Spartan runners. So Van Sena getting a little bit of help from the outfield, but he's going to have to get some outs himself right now with runners on second and third.
Heads up play there by the freshman Wogu to deke the runners. So it'll bring up Bryce Kelly, who's 3 for 3 with a stolen base today. He's been very dangerous and has the platoon advantage against Van Sena. Count is 1-0 on him after he took the first pitch low for ball 1. The 1-0 is lined into center field. Engelman coming on, grabs that one in short center field, and the runners will have to hold up. So Bryce Kelly retired for the first time today, and that'll bring Corey Young up to the plate, who's 0 for 3 today, still has not collected a hit on the season.
And it kind of seems like the Spartan hitters are almost kind of snake bitten when they have runners on base, just unable to bring them home. It's really not a lack of hits. They have 8 on the day, so it's not that they've been necessarily stymied, but unable to drive in the runs when they need them.
And we've seen them get hits with runners in scoring position today. They're 2 for 9, which isn't great, but they haven't been able to bring anyone home. That one grounded down to Nelson at third, fires over to Franklin at first, and retires the side. So 2 runners stranded for the Michigan State Spartans. No runs on 2 hits, no errors. And at the end of 7.5 innings, it is the Michigan State Spartans 0 and the Michigan Wolverines 11. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of the Michigan Wolverines. I'm Max Brill, joined by Peter Monahan, as we head into the bottom of the 8th inning at Ray Fisher Stadium. And that's kind of been the story of the day for the Spartans. They've stranded 12 runners on base today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough to win any game when you do that, despite their defensive issues that they've had. That was more so early on, but, that still made an impact, leading to this 11-0 lead. I think that, when you're not able to put the runners home, even when you get them on, you're not really going to be able to win any game. So kind of a tough one for the Spartans here, unable to really get a good feel with runners in position.
And we're going to have a pitching change here for Michigan State. We'll tell you who it is once we can see that number, but the Spartans opting to go with the uniforms with no number on the front. So can't quite tell who it is just yet.
I think it's going to be Jake Lowry, the senior right-hander. So we'll see what he can do. He's got a 6.75 ERA. So it looks like the Spartans are going to try and get him some work and see what he can do. He's got an 0-2 record on the season. So let's see if he can improve his statistics a little bit.
So Lowry, the 3rd reliever out of the Michigan State bullpen today. Caleb Sleeman finishes his day with 1.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run allowed, no walks, and 1 strikeout. So we're going to get a pinch hitter here for the Wolverines. Joe Donovan coming up to the plate. Pinch hitting for Miles Lewis here in the bottom of the 8th inning. First offensive substitution for the Wolverines today. And fouls the first pitch down the first baseline and foul.
So not a ton of patience there for Donovan trying to hit it right off the bat, but we'll see if he's going to be able to have any success with the 2.63 average right now.
And that is taken for strike 2 by Donovan. So Donovan in his pinch hit appearance now behind 0-2 to the new pitcher Lowry. Jake Lowry comes set and fires to Donovan, who swings and misses for strike 3. So 1 away here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, if you're Donovan, not something you really want to do. If you're given that chance to pinch hit, you probably want to, take your time, try to get on base, try to improve that average, try to give that coaching staff a little more confidence in you to put you in when necessary. So, a 3-pitch strikeout, I think it was, definitely not something you want if you're Donovan.
And doing a good job here is Lowry, pounding the strikes in. He's thrown 4 straight. Jesse Franklin taking that one. So it is 0-1 here on Franklin. Franklin taking outside for the first ball of the inning. Count now 1-1 on the first baseman.
Definitely a nice start here for Lowry. Really looks like he's comfortable and kind of in control right now.
The pitch now to Franklin is fouled down the first base line. The count on him is 1-2. Franklin taking his time getting back into the box. Lowry ready to rock and roll there on the mound for the Spartans. Comes set and delivers the 1-2. Swung on and missed by Franklin. And Lowry begins his day with back-to-back strikeouts.
Well, Lowry's looked very good so far. And as we look at this next Michigan batter, it looks like a pinch hitter. It looks like it won't be Wogu, and it'll be Jimmy Kerr, the junior. So we'll see if Jimmy Kerr can have any luck against Lowry. Lowry's looked absolutely fantastic so far, keeping the balls in the zone, not really missing with his pitches, and just hitting a lot of strikeouts.
Kerr, someone we saw a lot of in the Lipscomb series, but hasn't really seen a whole ton of playing time since then. Takes the first pitch for ball 1. Kerr up at bat with nobody on base for him and 2 outs. The junior, hitting just 121 this season, takes the second pitch for a called strike. Count even now at 1-1.
Lowry looking to put down the Wolverines batting for most likely the last time today.
And Kerr pops that one out to center field. Ranging in is Danny Gleaves, and he catches that. A 1-2-3 inning for the Michigan State Spartans. Their first of the day. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on for the Wolverines. And at the end of 8, it is the Michigan Wolverines 11 and the Michigan State Spartans 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio, the official student radio broadcast of the Michigan Wolverines. I'm Max Brill, joined by Peter Monahan as we head to what will most likely be the last at-bat of the inning, the top of the 9th. Obviously, that's assuming the Wolverines don't give up 11 or more runs.
Yeah, with how the defense has played for the Wolverines, it's not looking like that's very likely. Obviously, we'll have to see whether or not this new pitcher, it looks like. I don't think
it's Jeff Criswell.
Jeff Criswell,
who has been lights out this season, I would like to add. We saw him stymie the Spartans in the late innings on Friday. Criswell, this season for the Wolverines, has a 3.55 ERA and 11 strikeouts in 12 2/3 innings. And Coach Bakich handing him the ball to close out this game against Michigan's in-state rivals. And if they do manage to close out this 9th inning, that would be a 3-game sweep. A good way for the Wolverines to open Big Ten play.
Yeah, that'd be a great way. And I think how they've played in these 3 games against Michigan State has kind of been symbolic of how they've been playing lately, playing with a lot more energy, and their record's been a lot better than it was at the beginning of the season. They struggled early on with a losing streak, but they've really rebounded, and starting off undefeated in the Big Ten would really set their season off on a good note.
And Criswell looking to do just that. He will have to retire the top of the Michigan State Spartans lineup. It's going to be Iverson, Shimoleski, and Danny Gleaves, the pinch hitter, due up for them. And we have a handful of defensive changes here for the Wolverines. So let me just get you updated on that. It's going to be Jeff Criswell into pitch, Jimmy Kerr to first, Jesse Franklin to left, Joe Donovan DHing, and Joe Pace is going to enter in right field for Chris Bullock. So Coach Bakich making some wholesale changes here in the ninth inning.
Yeah, it looks like Coach Bakich is just looking to get some of his guys some time out in the field. Pretty comfortable 11-0 lead. And as you've mentioned, Criswell looking so good this season. He's obviously has faith in his freshman that he'll be able to put this one away.
So the Wolverines still warming up. Now we're going to have a meeting on the mound between Salter and Criswell just to get on the same page before they face Iverson.
Iverson 0 for 4 today at a 255. So I'm sure he's looking to get something, try to get on base. Doesn't have a walk either, so I'm sure he's looking to get something started right now.
So Criswell, the right-hander, working from the windup on Iverson, delivers the first pitch high for ball one. Iverson 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Started out as the third baseman, then moved over to second in the seventh inning when Marty Bikina was subbed in as a pinch hitter for Corey Young. Bikina moved to third. Criswell delivers the second pitch for ball two. Takes a deep breath and fires. Pitch just outside, so the count now 3-0, and Criswell behind early on Zach Iverson, who's looking to get on base for the first time today.
Kind of a tough way to start if you're Criswell. Not a lot of pressure, but you can't let it get away from you.
Criswell finds the strike zone here on the outside part of the plate, and the count now moves to 3-1.
And Criswell isn't the guy who walks a ton, only 5 walks on the season, so usually kind of a control artist.
And that one is looped into left field. It's going back and off the wall. Firing in from center field is Jonathan Engelman, and Zach Iverson finds himself with the first hit of the day for a leadoff double in the ninth inning. To be honest with you, I didn't think that was going to go that far off the bat, but it kind of just kept going out there and managed to hit off the wall in left center field. A nice piece of hitting there by Iverson to start off what could be a ninth inning rally for the Wolverines.
Yeah, when I first saw it come off the bat, I thought it might have died there between Engelman and Franklin, but it just kept going and hit off the wall. So Spartans are in a good spot to start the inning. No outs, and Iverson on second with Shimoleski at batting, and he does have a hit already, so someone who has been on base. Spartans do have a chance to continue this.
Shimoleski 1 for 4 on the day, takes the first pitch on the outside corner for strike one from Michigan Wolverines pitcher Jeff Criswell. Wolverines right now leading at 11-0 in the top of the ninth. They've compiled 15 hits on the day. Michigan State no runs on 9 hits. Criswell fires the 0-1, and it's swung on and missed by Shimoleski. So Criswell, after falling behind 3-0 on the first hitter of the inning, gets ahead early 0-2 on the second and looking to retire Shimoleski without issue. Criswell comes set, working from the stretch, checks on the runner at second base, and moves home. That one is fouled back to the screen by Shimoleski, so we'll do it again.
Saw some of the fans kind of dive out of the way despite the netting with that fast comebacker.
It's just a reaction kind of thing. I've sat behind the dish here at Ray Fisher, and no matter how many times you know the net is there, you're always going to move out of the way. So Criswell now 0-2 delivers to Shimoleski, and it's taken a called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. So Criswell able to retire his first batter of the inning. A strikeout looking to Dan Shimoleski, who will finish the day 1 for 5 with 2 strikeouts, and that'll bring up to the plate Danny Gleaves, the center fielder, came in as a defensive replacement in the 7th inning. in the bottom of the 8th inning. So he'll be seeing his first plate appearance of the game here.
Yep, only a 1.79 on the season, so not necessarily the most productive hitter.
And he lines this one deep into center field, but Engelman ranging back, puts the glove on it and hauls that in for the second out and fires over to third. Moving up is Iverson. So now 2 outs. Chad Ross Kelly represents the last hope for the Michigan State Spartans in this weekend series against the Michigan Wolverines.
Ross Kelly's had kind of a tough day, but that shutout the Wolverines had going is definitely in danger right now with that man on third. However, if things continue the way they have with the Spartans' inability to get guys across the plate, Criswell could be able to get out of this one.
And stepping out, stepping back in is Adam Proctor, actually. It's going to be a pinch hitter. So Proctor seeing his first action of the day, and he represents what could be the final out in today's contest, taking the first pitch for called strike 1 from Jeff Criswell.
Proctor not that much different in terms of batting average from Ross Kelly at that 1.74. So a pinch hitter there for the Spartans, but not necessarily a guy with a high average.
And he swings and misses there at the second pitch, and the Michigan State Wolverines down to their final strike in this weekend series.
You can hear the crowd here supporting their Wolverines, trying to get them across the finish line here.
Pitch from Criswell. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and the Wolverines take the finale of the weekend series against the Michigan State Spartans. All smiles from the Wolverines here at Ray Fisher Stadium. The final score, Michigan State, no runs on 9 hits and 2 errors. They left a whole lot of men on base, if I'm not mistaken, 13 today. And for the Michigan Wolverines, 11 runs on 15 hits, 1 error, and 8 men left on base. It'll be called Kaufman, the winning pitcher for the Wolverines, improving to 3-2. Mason Erla picks up his first loss of the season, falls to 3-1. Time of game, 3 hours on the dot. And I don't know about you, Peter, but I think this is probably one of the best series the Wolverines have played all season.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think if you kind of look at the games in order, it seemed like they kind of got a better read on the Spartans as the games went along, consistently improving how they were playing. So, it shows the Wolverines' adaptability there, and obviously it shows their consistency as they're able to continue the same type of play throughout all 3 games.
So just real quick, want to get you the final line on Jeff Criswell. He did give up that leadoff double, but after that, lights out, 2 strikeouts. So the one inning pitch, 1 hit, no runs, no earned, no walks. A great job from the Wolverines to grab the shutout in the final game of the series with the Michigan State Spartans. Peter, any final thoughts?
Not much. Just hope that the Wolverines are able to continue this torrent pace they're on and have success in the rest of the Big Ten as well.
So Michigan picks up their 8th consecutive win with the 11-0 victory over in-state rival Michigan State Spartans. They now sit atop the Big Ten Conference with a perfect 3-0 record in conference play. We'll be back with you on Wednesday for Michigan versus another in-state rival, Central Michigan. That's a 4 o'clock first pitch, so be sure to tune in on WCBN Sports Radio for that. I'm Max Brill for Peter Monahan and Austin Falco, who was with us earlier. You've listened to Michigan Wolverines baseball on WCBN Sports Radio. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a good afternoon. Enjoy the evening, and go Blue.